Kids are really enjoying it here at Sydney Olympic Park. In fact, everybody is. And it's all about staying cool today. Just checked out the latest reading for Sydney Olympic Park, 36.9 degrees. And then when you add the fact that it's concrete lined, it's a lot hotter than that. There's Merchandise Alley, so it's nice and busy here. This event has really gripped Sydney at the right time of the year. The fourth running of the Sydney Telstra 500. 6 different races since we first came here in 2009. 6 different winners. Who knows how you frame a market for this one? So let's check in with the odds. Neil Evans is here for Luxbet. G'day, Neil.
Hello, Whitey. Yes, 6 different winners. Jamie Whincup trying to win it for the first time. You can feel the tension out here as we go to the Luxbet market. And this has been turned on its head. Will Davison, $2.15 favourite for Ford. You could have got $7 before the shootout, so those punters are giggling. Tim Slade on pole, $6. Jamie Whincup, the champion, long time since he's been $10. Then you get further out in the market. Johnson, $13. Caruso, $17. Craig Lowndes back in the pack, $19. And there's Mark Winterbottom for Ford, $26 right back in the pack. So, as you can see, Will Davison, $2.15. He is the driver to beat here at race 29. And for the grudge market, of course, well, that's been flipped over like an egg, this one. Ford is now $1.45. Holden, $2.70. You could have got it the other way around this morning. So, Ford on top, blue, trying to outdo red. Will Davison, the favourite, going into race 29.
Saturday at the Sydney Telstra 500. Track facts, race 29 of 30. We're nearly there. 74 laps this afternoon in the stinking heat. 26 laps you get on a full tank of fuel around here, making that critical lap number the earliest you can fill up in the race and make it home without another pit stop is lap 48. Remember that number. Tyres, oddly, all hard here. Everyone's got the same tyre, no soft tyres, all the same. Now, key issues to win here. Cooling and hydration. We'll have a little bit of a look at that out on the grid in a moment. Risk management and mistake-free. Sounds obvious, but this is a tough race to achieve that. I'll tell you why in just a sec. So from a strategic point of view, it's kind of a 3-stop race, this for fuel, but it's been won historically using 2 fuel stops. So what you've got to do, there's our 48. Now remember, 26 laps I said on a tank of fuel, but you've got an out lap and a parade lap. So always you'll only get 2 laps less than that going to the race. So you might get to lap 24. So you start with a full tank of fuel. Here's our race distance, obviously. Get to about that lap 24, fill him up again, get to that magic number 48, fill it up again, and that'll just get you home if you conserve fuel. Some guys might even choose to come in just a fraction earlier here and just a fraction earlier here to do the undercut, to get out on green tyres and go a little faster for 2 laps to get that important track position. Problem with that is you'll have to use the fuel trim switch on your steering wheel, less power, to make it home to the end. Now, why is it so hard to do well here? Well, safety cars. In the 6 races we've had here, 22 safety car periods. That's unbelievable. DNFs, did not finishes. In the 6 races, we have had 59. That doesn't happen. I mean, V8 Supercars on the world stage is potentially the most reliable category. So to have an average of 10 per event is unbelievable. So it comes back to this, risk management and mistake-free. And we know when drivers are hot and dehydrated, they make mistakes.
Well, the flying Frenchman Alex Premat has found his way to the 2nd row of the grid. Great spot to be, especially for this race, Alex. Well done.
Yeah, well, thank you very much. I really appreciate it. It's amazing, yeah, to be on the 2nd row. I will do my best, yeah, to keep definitely this place and maybe to move up from 1 or 2 places. It will be really great, yeah, to be on the podium. So I will try to do my best as I can and, yeah, to be out of trouble, because I heard that, especially in this racetrack, it's very tricky. You know, there is a lot of wall and you have to be careful and, yeah, cruising, not cruising, but pushing a bit, but, yeah, to be, yeah, as much as you can just finish the race in the top 3 would be fantastic for me, man.
It's a great effort, Alex. All the best for the race.
Thank you, man.
Now down here just behind car 17, Stevie Johnson's car, if you look underneath there, mechanics are in underneath putting a battery, because the battery in these cars go in underneath. With the cool suits and everything, you use a lot of voltage, often have dramas. How hot is it with those guys laying down there? Well, there's the heat gun, 53 degrees on the tarmac. Now, if we just weave our way over here through all the grid chicks, that's a bit of a problem, isn't it? and catch up with Russell Ingall in position 6 here. I said earlier I wanted to show you some of the cooling systems. Well, here's a really good example. If we look in Russell's car, and believe me, a bloke his age will have every cooling device known to man. Inside that is dry ice, and you can see these pipes coming out here. In fact, I can feel that vibrating now. That's pumping cool fluid into his vest that he's wearing. Now, apart from that little yellow device over there is a fan, and that's going up and inside to Russell's helmet. And up here, see this vent up here called a knacker duct? Air goes in there, blows in there. It's blowing into the back of his seat, his lower back, and also into his helmet. So we just said we can very quickly grab a word with Russell, because I put the heat gun also on his pedals down there. 50 degrees down at his pedals. Very quickly, mate, are you hot? You cool? You've got all the kit in here, mate.
Mate, you're going to need it, because she's going to get well over 50, almost 60 degrees Celsius inside here. So, mate, nowadays you need all these connections, and you've got to have it, mate. Otherwise, you're going to actually turn into a boiled egg.
Well, great to see you up here in P6, Russell. Have a great race, mate.
Certainly will.
Anything can happen, and anything does happen around the streets of Sydney Olympic Park. We will take a break, and after this, we'll go racing for the 29th race of the season on a hot Saturday afternoon in Sydney. Stay with us. Looking down over this spectacular Sydney Olympic Park precinct. Back in 2000, of course, it hosted the Games. We all remember it so well. The last 3 years at this time of the year, it has hosted some of the most chaotic, crazy, unbelievable V8 supercar racing we've ever seen. We know that at the end of this weekend, Jamie Whincup will accept the trophy as the V8 supercar champion of 2012. He's going to start from midfield this time around, and the weather is what it's all about. So currently 36 degrees. You can add, I reckon, about 5 or 6, maybe even a little bit more when you're standing out there, and especially out on the tarmac. And then in the cabin, well, you could just about double it. I mean, it's going to get towards 60, 70 degrees for those guys in there. It's Cool Suit City. So let's take a look at this circuit.
Concrete Canyon it is, 3.4 kilometres, 13 turns in total. Top speed on the pit straight into turn 1, 250 kilometres an hour. It's got an average speed of around about 140 kilometres an hour, so it's quite slow. It's the bumpiest of all the circuits we go to. 2 reasons. The track surface itself in several spots is quite undulating, but also, of course, the curbs. And when the cars are flying across the curbs, which you'll see on the super slow-mo, it's wild stuff.
And in terms of that championship, Crompo, as I said, Jamie Whincup has wrapped it up, doing so at Winton. It's the first time since 2002 that it hasn't gone the distance in terms of going to the last event, but there's a great fight going on for number 2 in the championship, and it still involves Team Vodafone and FPR, who have collected all the races between them over the course of the year. So it's going to be interesting to see how that plays out. Can Craig Lowndes make it a 1-2 finish for Team Vodafone as they farewell their sponsor? Can Frosty spoil that party? Let's check in with Brett's.
Matty, Jamie Whincup now locked in, ready to go. This is unusual, mate, being midfield. What's the strategy? Championship in the bag. Do you just blast your way through the middle?
Yeah, we're certainly going to try. There's big expectations. We had a good run at Winton a couple of weeks ago, but this is a completely different scenario. You know, it's a street track. The competition's massively up. So we're going to just try to play it smart, try to stay out of trouble. And if we can pick off 3 or 4, I'll be happy.
All the best, mate. Good luck.
Thanks, Brett. Cheers.
Frosty, I was just talking to Russell Ingall up on position 6. That was about 20 minutes ago I walked, and I've just arrived down the back here, mate. I can't remember ever talking to you way down here. What's the strategy from here?
Yeah, not ideal, but I can't even see the start-finish lights. That's how far away it is. So it's not ideal, no, but we've got good car speed. I was unlucky, but it was what it was qualifying. So we got a quick car. We'll use it and see if we can get through.
Look forward to watching that, mate. Good luck.
Yeah, it's quite interesting. Back in 2007 on the streets of the Gold Coast, Mark Winterbottom, a pole position, there was a technical irregularity that forced him to the rear of the grid, and that's the last time he started that far back. And let's not forget that Mark Winterbottom was the last man to win on this circuit on the Sunday in 2011. So there's your championship picture. Whincup's on a weekend of parade laps, but that fight between Winterbottom and Lowndes, no question, will go down to the wire tomorrow.
And we've never seen a grid like this, Matt. You know, Tim Slade, first pole position, Will Davison, season best for Steve Johnson. Alex Premer, career best. So many of these guys are up in an area that they're not used to. And how about Triple Eight? It's the worst qualifying for them. Both cars out of the top 10 since 2008 at Hamilton.
Lowest qualifying effort too for David Reynolds, the Bottle-O racer, in 18th. There's Jono Webb. Damage to that car in the qualifying session. He will start from 24th.
And they had to replace both front rails, the radiator, the oil cooler, so it's had a lot of work done to it. It's a lot of work done to that car. I went down and had a look at it, and they were just getting it back after qualifying, so enormous amount and really hot, hard conditions in the paddock.
And where was it? Where did he actually crash? We couldn't pick up where he went in.
It was one of the low-speed corners. He went straight ahead. But let's check out the Fuso starting grid. And Tim Slade, what a fantastic career moment for him.
He becomes the 54th man in the Australian Touring Car Championship, or V8 Supercars, to claim a pole position. Isn't that great to see Stevie Johnson and Alex Premer on the second row of the grid? Then Michael Caruso, always good around these street circuits, and Russell Ingall, look out for the enforcer. Tony D'Alberto right up there inside the top 10. Drama for Lee Holdsworth on the track. We'll check out what that's all about as we continue to go through this Fuso grid for you. Jason Bright struggling with a bad back this weekend. Fabian Coulthard's alongside him. James Courtney makes his 100th championship event start. He's got the champion-elect next to him. Then it's Tander and Lowndes. So we were talking about the guys inside the top 10 who aren't regularly starting up there. Now we're finding these guys in the mid-pack who this year haven't been used to starting there and further back. Greg Murphy, Pepsi Max crew, he'll be farewelling Kelly Racing at the end of this season. So too Carl Reindler. Taz Douglas will start from position 22. Steve Owen, the VIP Pet Foods entry in 23. There's Jono Webb, former winner on this street circuit. So too Mark Winterbottom. Michael Patrizzi next to him, and then David Wall and Tim Blanchard. So 28 starters, and Lee Holdsworth heading towards pit lane.
Tim Blanchard actually had a bit of a stomach virus early in the week, and he's fully recovered now, but it knocked him round in the early days. So he was a bit worried about having to pull together 500 Ks this weekend. Also, at Jack Daniels Racing, Rick Kelly, you saw the problem for those guys earlier on in the shootout when it dropped off the road there. We talked about oil pressure. It flicked a belt off the oil pump. So they've done a complete engine change in that car. You should have seen the amount of work going on down there, and the sweat and the blood and the tears, skin coming off knuckles. But they've got it done, and he'll start from 10th.
Stay in, mate. Let him pull you back up.
So terrible news there for Lee Holdsworth. 17th, he qualified. And to wheel the Irwin Tools Falcon into the end of pit lane, day over.
Guys, it looks like, according to Ross Stone, it is a gearbox input shaft which is broken. Now that, yeah, exactly, Neil, that probably sums it up.
Yeah, so that'll be when he's done a little practice start, loaded it up, and it hasn't accepted it. This is a place where the entire transmission is under extreme load. We've talked, and Larko spoke about this a little bit before on the whiteboard. We've got tremendous reliability with these cars that the curtain drops on at the end of this year, basically this race meeting. We've had 20 years of V8 Supercar technical rules that have evolved as we know them. And through that period, they've become more and more and more reliable to the point where we never really think about it. But this is one track where you do have to nurse the cars a little bit, and all that gear is a bit vulnerable.
Certainly is. Very important start. You see Will Davison got the car on the angle there. He's on position 2, already angling the car to move it across towards the inside for turn 1. Mark Dutton just moving.
Stop it there. Perfect, mate.
Wing Cup up to the starting grid line.
This thing's got trouble written all over it, no doubt, because it's so mixed up. We're not getting a true representation of speed. Whenever you shake up the speed of the cars and put them out of speed order, you can expect fireworks.
Temperature climbing towards 40 degrees.
Green flag now, 5 seconds.
Downhill start.
All or nothing battle at Sydney Olympic Park. Tim Slade, first time he's been on pole position as we get going for a scorcher. Russell Ingall starts the dive already down towards turn 1. Good start from Will Davison. Stephen Johnson covers Ingall. Here comes one, so Davison leads them through. They're going to be too close on the inside. And Whincup somehow threads the needle over the curbs on the left-hand side.
Well, he went down the inside and, in fact, wasn't on the racetrack when he got down to that inside curve. So he was a bit lucky to get away with that and not end up making contact down there.
D'Alberto now runs wide at turn 4.
And pushed wide too. by Alex Premer. And now he finds himself in a tangle with James Moffat. The circuit gets very narrow down here. They've got to be careful. Moffat goes through single file. And that's Rick Kelly. He touches the fence on the exit there. Davison leads it through. Slade, Johnson, Ingles moved up. That's Van Gisbergen coming wide out to our wall cam.
So a very good jump and a critical first lap for Will Davison here. Look at Tony D'Alberto down the inside of Van Gisbergen at 9. Oh, crunch! And Giz into the wall. Oh! And he's taken Rick Kelly with him as he's tried to limp off to the side of the road. Rick had nowhere to go. That's going to drop him.
Okay, mate, you got no steering there?
It's Dave Stewart on the radio to Shane Van Gisbergen. He was around the outside of D'Alberto. It was a bit cheeky of D'Alberto to run him out, to continue to run him towards the wall. And Shane had nowhere to go. And after it hit the fence, he got him across to the left, and then Rick Kelly had nowhere to go. So lots of drama.
So aside from Davison at the front, starting from second, now leading the race.
Oh, you're kidding me.
He's managed to get the medical car.
Oh, I've never seen that.
So it's had a steering fail, and it's great. The medical car always follows the field. He would have got... Let's have a listen to Dave.
I've never seen that.
Hopefully not too much steering damage. Look at that car.
So the medical car follows the field for obvious reasons. It's a sweep car. Clearly there's a steering fail on the
Safety car
Shane Van
boards and
Gisbergen
flags,
car.
safety car boards and flags. We have a car stopped online, just exit off turn 10, exit of turn 10, just whole safety car.
It's an expensive car.
Well, it's a Porsche Panamera, and it's plucked the front off it. It's actually damaged on the other side, so there is a significant amount of damage to the front of that car, but there's obviously a lot of damage to, you can see that there now as the medical car comes in, and that is
Expensive.
expensive, exactly. It's blown me away. I've never seen that ever. Crowd think it's funny. And Van Gisbergen stranded, safety car out.
I'll tell you who else did a good job to get around. He's coming around right now is Jason Bright, because when Van Gisbergen was stuck there and ends up going across to the left to Rick Kelly, I thought for all money that Jason Bright was going to run straight into the rear of the SP Tools car. It's a real shame for Shane Van Gisbergen. We know he's giving it away at the end of this weekend.
Hey, Matty, Dave Stewart from SBR just confirming definitely it is broken steering for Shane Van Gisbergen. Bad news.
There's people saying it over the radio to drivers. Van Gisbergen's had a collision with the medical car, and all the drivers are going, what?
Ingles the one to watch here, and then watch Jamie Whincup as well.
Yes, back in the pack car one. Watch him dive down the inside. He makes it 4 or 5 cars wide. He's 5 cars wide. Look at this. He's jammed up against the wall. He takes to the traffic island, and he tries to get down the inside of Courtney.
So he started 14th. Jamie Whincup is now up to 9th.
He gained 5 spots, and so did Courtney, grabbed 3 spots. So Jason Bright was just saying on the radio, it was a crazy move of Whincup and Courtney to be 5 abreast with 4 wheels off the road.
That's when D'Alberto got pushed a little bit wide, and there's the damage for Garth Tander. Okay. So, as predicted, it's gone crazy already. You don't want to miss a beat of this one. We'll be back after this break. We've seen some of the most bizarre things ever occur in V8 Supercars at this circuit over the last 3 years, and today a new chapter. The medical car collected after Shane Van Gisbergen's steering went, so this will be the incident. There's the contact. Now watch Jason Bright arrive. Look at him dive off to the right, but that means that poor old Rick Kelly gets sandwiched into the left, and here comes the medical car, which in a matter of seconds is in need of an aspirin. This is a Porsche, and all of a sudden, whack. Ouch. That's one for the books. One for the checkbooks.
Yeah, and boys, just to update, been around, had a look at the medical car. Can confirm damage to the front bar, front fender, both right-hand doors. So they're taking the stuff, all the medical equipment, out of that car, putting it into a four-wheel drive, probably more appropriate. The guy's going to work on it. I don't think we'll see it again in today's race.
If you track down Neil Evans from Luxbeck, can you find out what odds? Medical car coming back out.
It's going to need new air conditioner, cigarette lighter, FM stereo, Bluetooth.
Oh, dear.
Good reporting, Larko.
So that contact is being investigated between cars 3 and 9.
Lights out, accelerate away from the field. Car 6 to maintain speed, 6 to maintain speed.
And guys, just on a more serious note, a couple of cars came through the pit lane there. Patrese for the second time. Wall came through, as did Garth Tander, and had a little top-up of fuel. Remember, we talked about really this is a three-stop race. You try and do it in two, and you can just do it with some safety cars. But they've put themselves in really good position for much, much later in the race, so watch out for them.
Right, Larko, and I said it before, and, you know, we've had a good laugh about the fact that we've never seen anything like that, but you really have to feel for this young man, Shane van Gisbergen. Since our last event, he has made it official, the 23-year-old, but he's going to step away from the sport.
Safety car in pit lane.
He's basically had enough at this time. We hope to see him back. Let's hope that he's back tomorrow and ready to have another crack and farewell this game properly, because he's a superstar in the making. Okay, Will Davison gets him underway. Tim Slade is second. Johnson is third. Then it's Russell Ingall. So Davison's got a good jump off the restart. The top three have gone with them. And then it's a little bit of a break.
Staggering gaps that opened up in our original start because of some of the stuff that goes on in the mid-pack in these tighter corners. The field spread was enormous.
And that was a bad restart then. There was a lot of gap. I mean, there's 3 or 4 car lengths in 5 or 6 zones within the field. So bad restart by a lot of the guys. Russell Ingall, for instance, a huge amount of ground to Steve Johnson.
It wasn't as aggressive as it should have looked. They were certainly pushing, but just single file around there. It didn't look as crazy and as manic as you'd expect from the first race start. Oh, big kick sideways from car 55 at Davey Reynolds.
So D'Alberto, we said about the contact, black flag now for him. Drive through for that contact with Shane van Gisbergen at turn 9.
So that was immediately radioed to Jamie Whincup as well, so that he doesn't have a lunge at him. So there's no point taking a risk. Oh, look at David Reynolds down the inside of Jason Bright at turn 9. Cleanly done. So Mark Dutton on the phone straight away to Whincup. Doesn't need him to get tangled up in anything, so Tony will peel off, transit the lane, and that'll stick him on the end of the train once he's released.
It's a great sight. It's where I saw Reynolds there kick out, but he was obviously bottling up that aggression that we were talking about, and he decided to use it down at turn 9, and he's continuing to go on with it. So Reynolds now up to 10th, D'Alberto in pit lane.
Get through this, trim 2 on the restart and press on as hard as you can.
Serving that penalty.
My fucking corner.
Adam DeBoer was talking to D'Alberto there. Sorry about that reaction. As Will Davison leads from Slade, Johnson, Ingall, Prema, Caruso, Moffat, Whincup, Courtney and Dave Reynolds, top 10.
So that's Winterbottom now up to 15th. Remember, he started back in 25th, and he's hunting down Dean Fiore. That's Stevie Johnson, I reckon, on the other side.
Yep.
It must be. So Stephen Johnson parked on the left-hand side of the circuit, a little bit further back.
Which will potentially trigger a safety car, because I doubt whether they'll want to leave a car sitting there.
Probably right. Although it's offline, it's pretty narrow down there as Winterbottom fires up the inside of Dean Fiore at turn 8. That's the car we're talking about. This is quite a narrow section down into turn 5.
And what a shame. Junior starting in 3rd.
Yeah, from that.
Car on circuit.
Here we go. So Peter's STP safety car deployed again. Can't have a car stationary on the track like that. So Stephen stays in the car for him to be now safely removed. We thought he might be a bit of a chance today. He's typically very good in these longer races at keeping his nose clean and with a bit of speed and nearer the front of the field. Something has gone amiss with the Jim Beam car 17. So it's Davison, Slade, Ingall, Kremer. Good start for Alex. Caruso, his teammate. Then Moffat, Whincup up to 7th. That's a great recovery. Courtney, Reynolds and Bright. That's your 10.
And Greg Murphy in 11th after starting from 19th. So Plenty of movers and shakers.
It's just on the exit of turn 4 there for Stephen Johnson. The safety car is on the circuit. A lot of action already at the Sydney Telstra 500.
Welcome back. The STP Petters safety car is still in control of the field after Stephen Johnson's prone car caused that interference with 67 laps still to go. What's the update, Brett?
Oh, it's not good, Matt. Look, they've had an alternator problem. They had it on the grid. They dropped a new battery in. It lasted 3 laps, and it's all over.
Wow. So from 3rd on the grid to the back of the truck, heading home.
Quite a number of people are using the opportunity now to come in and grab fuel. As we heard Larko describe before, this is David Ward and the Wilson security entry, and they're just ensuring that they can run richer throughout a longer period of the race now. So there's no real penalty in that. You lose a bit of track position because you go to the back of the queue, but the field's compressed.
Yeah, Neil, and Wally's really playing that card hard. That's twice he's been through the lane now. So that's a couple of them just making sure they're topped up. And it's interesting, a couple of those little failures. We just saw that battery, possibly an alternator failure, I'd say, on Stevie Johnson's car. We saw that input shaft on Holdsworth's car. You've got to remember, we're going to Car of the Future next year, so all these parts are going to become redundant. So I have a sneaking suspicious that, you know, the commercially prudent thing to do would be to extend the life of everything you've got, to not be throwing a whole lot of new components at it right now. Understand that.
Yeah, because the game changes next year. We'll take a break while we're still under safety car and come back and go racing live on 7. This brutal circuit at this scorching Western Sydney venue has already claimed 3 victims. Stephen Johnson, Shane Van Gisbergen and Lee Holdsworth didn't get to start the race, and we're also down a medical car as well. Brett?
Oh, Dick Johnson, you know what a tough caper this can be. I mean, you just think you get to the second front row of the grid and everything's going all right, and then alternator fails.
Yeah, well, whether it's the alternator or something else, I think the battery's collapsed or something like that. One would never know because we can't even talk to him on the radio, which is probably a good thing, I would suggest, at this point in time. But there's always tomorrow, Barrett, so...
Yeah, come back tomorrow, Dick, bigger and better.
One would only hope, mate.
All the best, mate. Good on you.
Cheers.
Some good news for the drivers and fans alike. That's merchandise alley that stretches straight through the middle here. Temperature's dropped.
Yeah?
35.7 now.
Oh, good.
Safety car in pit lane. Green flags, thank you, safety car.
Important restart here. We said before there were too many gaps. They've all been reminded. Tim Slade on the back of Will Davison. And much better in the middle of the field there in terms of restart quality as they run down Australia Avenue into turn 1. Greg Murphy's done a great job. Just saw the back of the Pepsi Max. Commodore is 11th. He's done a really good job coming from 19th. So he's the biggest winner of the first segment of this race.
Whincup qualifying in 14th position, now jumping up to 7th. But his teammate Craig Lowndes hasn't fared quite so well. He's down in 18th. Remember that Craig qualified in 16th, so he's been bottled up a bit in some of the action.
And Roland Dane has been on the warpath up and down pit lane, talking to V8 Supercar officials. Not sure what it's about yet. It's interesting to watch them on this restart, all going in search of clean, cool, fresh air after being trapped behind each other on the Petters safety car.
What Roland was blowing about was the safety car going too slow and the conditions being so hot that the engines would overheat. So Roland was prompting Damien White from V8 Supercar and Frank Adamson as the category technical manager to get the car to go a little faster. As Whincup dives down the inside of Moffat at turn 9. Good pass.
Takes him up to 6th.
It's right on the limit too, but he you can see from the body language of the car that he had absolutely nothing left under brakes. He dived at the apex and got round there cleanly. No lock brakes, so nice positive move. He's determined to march forward. Remember, the V8 Supercar doesn't have a fan in it like your road car. It relies on airspeed through the radiator to cool the fluid in the engine, keep it at the ideal operating temperature, so when the airspeed drops on the car, the temperature goes up. And it's very bad here in the traffic. In fact, it's not an overly hard place on brakes, brackets, unless you're behind other cars. And then if you're stuck in under the back of other cars, there's so much residual heat from the preceding car, it just flares the brake temperatures enormously.
So Slade's decided to take the fight up to Will Davison straight away. They're broken away a little bit too. This top two from Russell Ingall and then Alex Premer and Michael Caruso. And by the way, Michael's putting pressure on the Frenchman as well to get that spot. So the two GRM cars running inside the top 5.
Alex has done that very good time in the first sector on this lap, trying to defend. He was a couple of tenths quicker than Michael. This is a great battle looking rearward from Will Davison's car. Roller coaster ride, under brakes into turn 9. Reynolds looking to try and repeat the move that he saw Whincup pull effectively, but he needed it closer. Winterbottom does make a good move on Murphy. That's for position 11. Here's the battle for the Fujitsu boys that we were talking about there a moment ago. Quite a queue of cars here.
Murphy was pretty professional then, nearly. He could see Mark Winterbottom coming down the inside at turn 9. He gave him room, didn't try to fight for that. Whincup now does the fastest lap of the race so far, a 30.88, slightly faster than Will Davison with a 31 neat.
One thing, the water on the road earlier in the day and these incredible high temperatures and big humidity are doing is they're really hurting lap speed. That has a bit of a benefit in one respect. Whilst you're down on tyre grip, road grip, you also get an improvement in fuel economy because you're not running nearly as quickly. And, so that just adds to the whole story of the strategy. Just gives you a little bit more flexibility in some respects.
Looking back from Michael Caruso's car to Jamie Whincup, who has a little bit of unfinished business here. He was never just going to come here and trundle around and take the trophy at the end of the weekend. He's not that kind of guy, and he's not in that kind of team, but he is yet to win a race at this circuit. His best finish here is 5th, so it'd be nothing better for Jamie Whincup than to put an exclamation mark on the 2012 championship, for something that he hasn't done so far in a spectacular career.
What has been interesting for me this week with Jamie, that Mark and I have had some interaction with him a couple of times, different media activities, and well, really for the whole week, it's just far more relaxed than we've seen him normally at this event, where he's had a lot of pressure on him. So he's having fun out there at the moment. It always means a lot to any race driver in any race at this level, but without the pressure of the championship weighing heavily on him, he doesn't have to worry too much about the consequences. So he's having an enjoyable car race, having a crack. He'll try and make some good moves. He clearly wants to get this whole bogey track thing out of the way and demonstrate that it's not reality, it's just the way things have worked out. But he also knows deep in the back of his head that if he does pull a move and it's not a good one, it's not the end of the universe.
Exactly, and the best example of that was turn 1. I mean, he was 5 abreast, up the inside, 4 wheels off the road, down to make that initial passing manoeuvre on lap 1 to gain 5 positions. So your example is absolutely right. Great slide there for Steve Owen out of turn 4, right out sideways. Good catch.
And there's a little bit of a catch too. The front wheels getting a little bit tangled between Fabian Coulthard and Dean Fiore, and that will be a miracle if Fiore ends up not touching those tyre bumpers.
And that's the reason why Steve Owen had the big slide, because he was trying to round them up and he had to go out in the dirty side of the racetrack to be able to do it. And when we say great, of course, it's great for us to watch. If you're in the driver's seat, it's terrible because it murders the lap time when you're all sideways. Frosty down the inside of James Moffat. This is for position. Gets him. James just covered a little. Jason Bright wants to buy in. This is turn 9.
It's pretty lively there with Murphy and Bright just in behind also. Michael Caruso now has done the fastest time to the second sector. Will Davison on the prior lap of lap 13 to 30.47. Slade's now gone slightly faster as Courtney and Moffat. You can see the contact at the bus stop at turn 6 and 7.
Quite a good move, an opportunistic move there from James Courtney to be able to sneak down the inside. Not easy to do in that spot because you've got to sneak around the high-speed left-hander at 5. The car's unweighted. You've got to really pull it up in an awkward manner to be able to turn right, and he did it from the shallow side of the road.
Yeah, and I reckon another really clear demonstration of the way Jamie's going about this meeting. We saw it in qualifying with that strategy that didn't work for them, but you know what I really loved about it? Jamie, Adrian Burgess, Mark Dutton, his engineer, the uncompromising desire to succeed, to be at the front, and they threw the dice, and you've got to love that about this guy.
Your boss wasn't that thrilled about it. Spoke to him afterwards, and he thought the better plan was to stay out there on warm tyres in the wet track and just keep blazing, because at that stage the game was about getting into the shootout. But you're right. You have to take those risks sometime, and you've got to have a go. And every now and again, you get not pull up the right numbers.
And that's a good point, Neil, because that was the smart strategy, was to just get in the 10. They didn't want that. They wanted to bang the thing on the front row, and I like that bit. So don't add.
So as Michael Caruso with the blue lights on continues to hound his teammate, there's a pretty juicy battle going on between Will Davison and Tim Slade at the front, not to mention the fact that Whincup is now ready to have a crack at Caruso. But Tim Slade's just been chipping away over the last couple of laps, and Davison has responded with the fastest lap of the race to extend the lead out to 0.7 seconds. In the course of the last 3.4 kilometres, it was as close as under half a second.
We're going to stay with Jamie Whincup for a full lap. Have a look at the visibility and the way that when you are hooked in behind another car, the drama's attached to not hitting the fence. There's no room for error at this place. It's one of the most demanding circuits on our tour. And have a look down here at turn 5. This is very narrow and very fast.
We all remember that spot. In the wet.
They're in the fence. They're all in the fence.
That was quite remarkable.
All the championship contenders, all parked. It was just extraordinary. I've never seen it before.
Been topped today by the medical car, though.
Yeah, that's right.
I doubt we'll ever see that again. So what's the gap at the front? It remains 0.7 in the second. And Team Vodafone are about to start activating down there in pit lane. The two drivers from Sandown and Bathurst are also here this weekend, Warren Luff and Paul Dumbrell, Bathurst champion.
Excellent driving.
In terms of second on the championship, Mark Winterbottom, who came in here 63 points clear of Lowndes, is doing the job that he needs to do, staying clear of car 888. Winterbottom's in 9th, Lowndes is in 14th. And you just wonder at which stage will Jamie Whincup pull the trigger here and try and have a crack at Michael Caruso and then Alex Premer. But Will Davison, after starting on the front row of the grid, has control of the race. He's having a fascinating battle with his Ford counterpart, Tim Slade. A scorcher here at Sydney Olympic Park. Back after this. Welcome back to the Sydney Telstra 500, where Mark Winterbottom has just done the fastest lap of the race, the first man to go under 1 minute 30. He is in 9th position. Our race leader is Will Davison over Tim Slade by just under a second. Russell Ingall, who started 6th, is in 3rd. And it's Alex Premer, Michael Caruso, Jamie Whincup, David Reynolds, who's been on a charge, James Courtney, Winterbottom and Moffat make up our top 10.
Murphy got a problem, and he's testing the steering there, so he's concerned about the stability. There's something's broken according to what we just intercepted there from Murphy. He was testing the steering of the car there, like what's going on.
Straight in, nice and careful.
It's a good drive. Prior to that, he gained 7 positions, and he was putting a lot of pressure on Bright. So, as we said at the start of this race, this circuit is very hard on cars, and it's got a front steering or suspension problem, as Whincup now has got by Michael Caruso, so he'll be applying pressure now to Alex Premer for 4th position. So great drive by Whincup. Gained 9 positions. Davey Reynolds 11 positions, Mark Winterbottom 16 positions. So Winterbottom now with the fastest lap. We just saw that before with a 29.93, and this is the pass. Straight down the inside at turn 9. It's a great passing spot because it's a very difficult braking area. And oh, here we go. Wall and D'Alberto are in the fence. This is the little zone at the next corner, which is turn 10.
You okay, mate? Get onto it. Get back onto it. Let us know if the car's okay, mate.
And that's Adam DeBore. And that may have come as a consequence of being with Murph there somehow.
How's the car, mate? Was it a big hit? Are you okay?
That right rear door was already off Tony's car, by the way.
Oh, he's turned the wall around.
And then tripped over the front splitter on that thing on the way through. Here is again from the other angle. So David Wall on the left. And
that was Alberto's fault again with that one.
He'll cop another drive through for that one. And then Murph had to come to a complete stop as David Reynolds came in too. I saw it come up on the computer in the background. So they're going to... Larko's on the spot, so they're actually having a long, hard look at that thing at the moment underneath. And when they put the stands under it like that, you know that it's serious.
So safety car.
Yeah, bent steering guys for David Reynolds. They're working on it.
It's about to get busy your way, Moritz.
Did you see Slade barely able to turn it there? He actually made ground though on Will.
There, Wilbur. Mate, you've got to go around the Techno boys. Go around. You've got plenty of room to get straight. Come into the stop on the mark. Stop on the mark. So we'll fix that mirror for you.
This is going to hurt the Fujitsu guys. They were very close together. And Caruso behind Prema is going to have to park up. You see this stacking all the time. We know you've got to do it basically.
Going to watch the exit. Going to watch the exit.
There'll be enough gap between Davison and Winterbottom.
Clear. All clear.
There'll probably be enough gap between Whincup and Lowndes.
Good job. They've got him out a long way ahead of Tim Slade here.
Massively.
So Slade was right on his bumper effectively, and he's dropped a spot.
And there's the Fujitsu car parked up.
Yeah. Yeah, so that's, as you described it, that's going to murder Michael Caruso.
And there's Lowndes, but he didn't have to wait that long, Lowndes, so this is going to be a good gain for Whincup. It is. He pops out behind Slade, ahead of Ingle.
Yep.
And the two Fujitsu cars, one of them has now gone through, and that's Alex Prema.
Yeah, so that's made the passage easier for Jamie Whincup. It was an easy way to deal with the Fujitsu cars, and Michael Caruso will be, and there's nothing he can do about it, just be so frustrated by that. It's just, unfortunately, that it's, as I've described before, the lesser of the two evils. If you stay out on the circuit, it'll hurt even more.
So he got two free positions then. So Davison, Slade, Whincup, Ingle, Prema, Courtney will be the real race position, as you can see on track still. Mark Winterbottom, who didn't come in, Dean Fiore, Michael Patrizzi, those three cars are on track behind the safety car. The rest have stopped or are stopping.
Engine temp, watch the engine temp 30 hot.
So that's Garth Tander. They're sitting there with that car idling at the moment, so they're just watching engine
All clear
temps.
when it drops. Okay, Wally's coming out now. Okay, he's got his boot down. Okay, clear to go when it drops.
So I'm not sure what they were looking at there.
Okay, we need to do that to make sure we get to the end of the race.
The door on Jamie's car, has he opened that to actually ventilate, or has he got a problem? We'll come back and answer that question in just a tick.
We're ready for a restart right now. Mark Winterbottom, who did not pit, leads the field. Same story for Dean Fiore. But your real race leader is Will Davison, who resumes that position. There he is, fourth on the road. So Tim Slade, then Jamie Whincup. Before the break, we saw Whincup with the door open. And yeah, it was just to keep cool as we went to the break and shut at the next turn. So no dramas for car number one. He's just keeping his cool with 53 laps to go.
And the safety car interventions have stretched this first fuel range moment, this window for those that have not stopped. So Winterbottom, Fiore, Patrizzi. He's actually came in, he started from pit lane and then he came in and did a top up, so he's a bit out of sequence with everybody else. But the top two guys will be able to run for a little while longer than our originally predicted figures, so they'll be in probably in about half a dozen laps or thereabouts.
So Campbell.
So that was the voice of Damien White in the background talking to the race director. So Damien's the sporting and technical manager, also the start of the V8 Supercars. So there's another black flag. No surprise we called it. Alberto's role in the incident with David Wall.
So we saw Whincup make that ground in the pit lane as a consequence of strategy and good stop from Triple Eight. Then the second part of that is we saw him get very wide coming out of turn 4 on the opening lap, the restart. This is Whincup right in behind Prema. He'll probably give him a little push into pit lane.
Probably.
Here we go. It's the little push.
Standard procedure though. And here's the second drive through for Tony.
Guys, Tim Slade's stop was a little bit slower than expected. He had a problem with the left rear wheel. The crew just couldn't get it off. Garth Tander's got an alternator problem. During that stop, his was a little bit longer because they wanted to put a fresh battery in to try and give themselves every chance they could.
And they also couldn't shut the boot properly before they got him away, so it was a knock-on effect. But thanks for that, Brett.
That was Greg Murphy out of the car there. And Murphy has driven very well today. That was a good opening segment of the race, and as we said before, this can be a pretty cruel circuit. So another car down on the streets of Sydney Olympic Park. There's Davison, right behind Slade, Whincup, Ingle, and this has put Whincup back in the pack again. And one of the things we always say, track position is very important. And although it was a great move and they did get a couple of free positions in that pit stop, this will be pretty hectic in the spot that he's parked in right now.
So the safety car interventions have worked nicely in the story from Whincup working his way up to the front. And now, as you can see, the margin between him, Mark Winterbottom, who's the leader technically, but is going to stop in the not too distant future, and Whincup is only 4 seconds. Oh, Russell Ingall.
Saw him bump that in qualifying, didn't we? That was the spot he gave it a hit. That'll actually hit enough that, as you said in qualifying, that actually hurts that one then. It's not just a little bump, it's actually a wheel bump.
And it also pulled back Russell from his initial charge on Jamie Whincup from the restart. He's now back into the groove. He was right up on the rear of number 1, and that's what you were talking about, back in that fighting zone again. Somebody like the Enforcer breathing down your neck around here.
Now, Will's
going to wake you up.
Sorry, Matty. Will's going to be a bit cautious here because he is effectively the leader of the race, and he's just going to have to be a little bit patient to make sure that he gets the move done if he's going to be able to do one cleanly and easily. He's looking down the inside now at 9. Michael's given him space, so that it's pretty much textbook. Nice job there for Will, but patience is going to be a very important word for the day. He's up behind Dean Fiore now, so that's Will to 3rd.
On board now with Russell Ingall right up behind Jamie Whincup.
Yeah, look, there's a garage full of Stone Brothers Racing drivers down here. We might just try and grab a real quick word with you. Sorry to interrupt you there, buddy. Shane, first of all, looked to me like you got tucked in a bit tight on the wall there with D'Alberto in that incident.
Yeah, I just got shuffled around the outside, and you know, Tony's a good guy. I get along well with him, but that time I don't think he wanted to share the road. But he pushed me wide, and then yeah, we're just in the fence there. So a bit of a shame, really, but hope we can get on with it tomorrow.
And mate, I've got to ask you about the medical car. I mean, I spoke to the driver down there. He would appear a little embarrassed to me, but what happened there?
Oh, it's on TV now. Just the steering was quite bent, but I thought we'd get back to the pit lane, and then it just snapped left. But days of thunder, they say, go out there and hit the pace car. Yeah, I got close.
Very funny. Well done, mate. We'll just quickly try and grab a word, Lee Holsworth, mate. I know there's one place you don't want to be standing right now, and that's right here.
Yeah, exactly. You know, we didn't even get to do the warm-up lap. Sorry, mate, I'm finishing my cookie.
Yeah, I'll hold that.
Yeah, we had something fail on the grid. Sounds like an input shaft or a diff or something. So, you know, it's been an up and down year, and that was one of the lows. So maybe we'll get a high tomorrow.
What's it? I'm going to go over here and see what's on the food platter.
What's it like a
ripper?
Oh, Slade. Trouble on the racetrack here. Slade's getting a shuffle, and look at this. Got Whincup mixed in the middle. Ingle on the inside. James Courtney as well.
It's all getting a bit ugly.
There's been a lot of drama there because Prema's now out of sync with that, and Courtney, big beneficiary of whatever the move was that put Jamie back. So there's a bit of a story in the tale of Whincup trying to get by, and Ingle now past Whincup, same with James Courtney. So good move from both those guys.
That had the potential to be really nasty.
Yeah.
We'd be peeling cars off the wall, but somehow they managed to do it and not do any damage. So watch Slade here. Okay.
So we caught the tail end of that, of Tim just gathering his breath there and getting it all straightened up, but then that shuffled the pack a little, didn't it? Just changed everybody's pace. There it is again from the other angle. We're expecting Mark Winterbottom in any tick of the clock, by the way. So this is the reason why Jamie ended up just dropping back, because Russell got underneath him then at the final corner. And just spread eagled the gang a little bit.
That was a sorry boys from Jamie Whincup. He said sorry boys. That manoeuvre obviously cost him some spots.
There's also lots of talk out there at the moment about temperatures, not surprisingly. So, for example, Alex Premer in 33 is 8th at the moment. They've said you're just going to have to search for a lot more cool air. So he's in that train that I spoke about before. When you're tucked up underneath a bunch of other cars, it's not just the car in front of you, it's the cars in front of you. There's an enormous amount of heat. You can see it there in the background of the shot, just billowing out from the back of the cars, and that really bumps up the water temperature, the oil temperature, the gearbox temp, the diff temp, brake temp, everything starts to fly.
Driver temp.
Driver temp was probably the most perilous one.
The thing about Winterbottom in this strategy, Neil, was not stopping, is that everybody's still got to do their 2 stops to get home. Winterbottom has put some great laps together. He's got a 6-second lead now, just on the fastest lap of the race at 29.67. So, although it's an alternate strategy and he's going to have to stop for longer, it might work his way. He's out of the traffic and going fast.
Hey, Scafey, bad news for Will Davison. He has tapped the wall and he's broken his steering. You see the steering arm bits here in the FPR garage about to go into Will's car. Will will have to come in just a moment.
Wow. So he's 3rd on the road at the moment. He's given that wall a nudge, and there's the steering arm standing by. Obviously still rolling along there okay at the moment. I wonder whether he's just put them on standby and warned them, or whether he is actually going to come in.
Well, I think 2 things. You said that you need to be patient. He put a really good pass on. Here we go. There's not much room here. Ingle and Courtney, they're in the fence. Teammates, they've just hit. Steering arms are broken. That's broken the front of Ingle's car. And Courtney definitely went in the fence. So a lot of damage. Oh, Moffat down the inside of Ingle. A lot of damage.
You got a flat, pit, 4 tyres, spare 4 tyres, guys, spare 4 tyres.
That's happened a few times this year. They're mates, but they get on the racetrack and they headbutt each other unnecessarily.
Well, that was silly. Those 2 guys. So Davison in with damage. You said it before that he needed to be patient. He's obviously made his own mistake as he was trying to get towards Mark Winterbottom. He now fumbles around to get the car into the garage to be able to change that steering arm. And there's a lot of damage to the left-hand side of this car.
That hasn't gone on yet. It's
it's
actually not on the pegs.
It's more damage than that because front mudguard and front air dam wouldn't allow them to put that wheel on. It's Rob Starr talking, who is yelling out to get some tyres. And this is the replay. Down the inside is Ingle.
It actually started one corner back.
It did.
And then as Russell went to the right, he almost grabbed Jamie Whincup along the way.
So very clumsy.
Remember, at that stage, Russell Ingall was effectively in 3rd position. He hasn't been on the podium since 2009. Qualifies inside the top 10. He said to us at the very start of the day, like he always does, the qualifying's the hard bit, the racing's the fun bit. Let him want fun out of that one this afternoon. So Mark Winterbottom now comes into pit lane with a 10-second lead.
Got you there, Frosty, mate. We're going to do a tear off as well and tweak that mirror for you.
Very important stop, this one.
Stop on the mark.
So they're just running standard strategy. They should easily make a 2-stop.
Tear off, please.
This being the first.
You'll be clear when you drop. You'll be clear when you drop. Clear when you drop. Go, 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 go.
So just under 18 seconds. Penrite graphic shows that pit stop time, and he will emerge. We'll just have a look very closely as to, we've already seen the dramas for Dave Reynolds, so he's right back at the back of the field.
Yeah, Neil, it's a good pickup, mate. Standard strategy, and after the irony, well, it is an irony after what we talked about a lot at Winton, where they went far from the standard strategy, didn't work for them, being very conservative. And look, good work.
Yeah, so they've just started using your whiteboard, Lyco, with a full load of fuel, and they've run it to the end of that load, stuck some fuel back in, stick some tyres on, away they go. Now this is going back a moment a little further to the Courtney Ingle thing. So James dive bombs down the inside at 9. Russell hangs in there, but then the 2 of them force the issue at 10, and it ends up in a headbutt. A bit unfortunate. And then as Russell jumped to the right. He almost grabbed Jamie Whincup in the process.
And that damage, as you said, Matt, has cost Russell Ingall any chance of finishing up near the pointy end somewhere where he was doing a really good job, qualified well, and was certainly in contention. So that's really affected his run today. Courtney's got the eyes on today. He's been very aggressive. A couple of passes, big pass into turn 6, a really good pass into turn 9, and he's now behind Prema. We've seen Alex get involved in too much drama this year, so they'll need to be careful, those two guys, because they're both in line for a very good result, Prema and Courtney in 3rd and 4th.
So just to reinforce the point I made about the standard strategy and the point that you picked up on a little moment ago there, Mark, is that with Frosty, at this stage at least, they're just running standard. So he's done one stop, he's got one more to go. It's likely that the way the others are looking at the moment, they've got at least another 2 stops to deal with. That's going to put Frosty in a pretty strong position a little bit later in the day. We've got a lot of racing to come here. But because of the way in which Whincup and Slade, Prema and so on have played the game so far, they may pay a little penalty a bit later on, but there's a lot of stuff to unfold here before that becomes folklore.
A guy I didn't want to have a talk to today was you, Murph, but I tell you, I was laughing watching you laugh at Courtney and Ingall together. You love that, mate.
We shouldn't laugh. I mean, it's not very nice. I'm sure their debrief tonight's not going to be too sharp. I wouldn't want a camera in their truck, actually.
More importantly, mate, what's the gig with your car?
Oh, just another mechanical failure. Steering's failed, so we're out of another race.
And briefly, mate, any word on next year? We're going to see Murph around?
Oh, you'll see me around some stage. I don't know where or how or when, but no, nothing full-time lined up go at this stage. All
right, mate. Well, I hope you put something together. Cheers.
Obviously very disappointed. Greg Murphy there finishing up with the Kellys this weekend. A long-time Holden driver over a long period and been very, very successful. And was doing a very good job today. As I said earlier, we drove the car very well in the opening segment of this race. As Courtney now down the inside of Prema. These are the two guys we're just referring to. And well done, no contact.
He only just got stopped though, didn't he, James? Got away with it at turn 2.
But Prema was smart then. He didn't fight. You've got to do that, Crombo. That's what we've said this all year with him. He's just got involved in too much drama, and that was clever. Richard Holway would have been on the radio to him, would have said over the phone, just don't do anything weird, be cool.
There's only inches in it. Every time we look up, we catch a glimpse of Jason Bright in that picture. He's now 5th.
And he was quick in practice, so there's actually good form in that car. Fastest man in practice 3, he was 9th in practice 4, 11th in qualifying, so he just missed out getting into the 10 by tiny margin. So there's some pace in there. He's got a little bit of a lower back issue. His seat wasn't quite right at Winton, and when your seat's not quite right in these cars, it really becomes a problem. You float around in the seat with the load in the car, and the braking in particular becomes an issue because you rotate your hips in an awkward manner when you're applying the brake all the time. Whincup, more than just a mirror for him. It was a right rear rub. So he and the man on screen, Tim Slade, stopped on lap number 19.
And we're now on 32 out of 74. So it's Slade, then Whincup behind them. James Courtney from 11th up to 3rd. Alex Prema is getting pressured by Jason Bright. James Moffat, you could put him in the Jason Bright category as well. Every time we look there, he's involved in something. It was the same in qualifying, and it's the same in this race. Craig Lowndes, Jono Webb, Steve Owen, Michael Caruso make up our top 10. We'll also be watching Mark Winterbottom, who won the last race here last year. That's our mega wall's got it all covered here for you at Sydney Olympic Park. With activity in Gary Rogers Motorsport, the team boss is on the prowl. Race control been activated quite a few times today. The curb cams capturing the view from down low, and you can ride, of course, with your drivers, and we'll do that right now with Michael Caruso.
I was going to make the remark just before the break. When you look at Slade and Whincup having stopped on lap 19, and we know that the fuel window is about 26 laps. Remember when they did stop, it was for the 3rd safety car intervention, so they get a little bit of fuel range back from that. But 19 laps plus 26, if you use standard numbers, gets you to lap 45. In other words, it doesn't get you to the critical lap, and down the inside here is Lowndes on Bright. Remember Larko's whiteboard, you need to get to lap 48 or 9 in order to fill up and get home. So what's really the interesting thing here is whether or not the Winterbottom strategy, the standard strategy if you like, is going to play into his hands from position 14, running standard, or whether or not the way in which, say, for example, Slade, Whincup, and even to some extent Courtney, how that plays for them and whether they'll get home. Now, what will be helping them is the possibility of more safety car intervention, plus the warmth and the low lap speed. You know, so they're running around a bit slower at the moment. And if we were looking at their numbers in the individual garages, you'd have a fair idea. But I don't know that anyone's going to give any of that information away freely. So they'll be desperate in the case of Slade, Whincup, Courtney to try and get to that critical, call it the Larko lap, where you fill up one more time and get home. I'm not sure that they're going to make it at the moment.
We saw the numbers for Jono Webb, who's picked his way through the field up into the top 10, and we also saw Will Davison still in the garage. If he does not finish this race, that will make 5 straight DNFs at this circuit. Hasn't finished a race here since Sunday in 2009.
End of the day for Fabian Coulthard, guys. They've got a broken spring in the throttle. Samantha Armitage, who went for a hot lap with him yesterday, is going to be devastated. She fell in love with V8s, and probably Fabian as well yesterday, her new favourite driver.
Too, didn't she? She did. She loved it, didn't she? Jono Webb and Steve Owen, they've both made 15 positions, so they've done a really good job. James Courtney, 9 positions, and Whincup, 12 positions. So they're the real movers and shakers from the start of this race.
See the little indication across the roll bar just above Michael there. So if you have a radio failure, you can use the indicators for communication. So left indicator is yes, right indicator is no. Different teams have got their own codes for that, for lights flashing and indicators on and off, and there's a little redundancy system in place for everybody in the field here to be able to deal with a radio or a comms fail. And sometimes not even just a fail, sometimes the comms are just difficult because of trees, buildings, interference. It's not as easy to communicate as you'd like to hope.
Some damage on the back of car 21. You see the tyre rubbing on the guard. A couple of times there you saw the blue smoke come out of the back of David Wall's car. This, you see there.
Yeah, just in here, I can see the boys under the back of Will Davidson's car. He's come back into the garage here. They're working on the rear anti-roll bar. I think they've got a bit of a problem there, but Tim Edwards tells me they're going to, you know, effectively they're out of competition, but they're going to make sure they finish the 75% of the race to get some points. But doing that, they're going to try and achieve some stuff here for tomorrow.
It's extraordinary. He's run a bad luck here. He started on pole position both days last year, ends up with 2 DNFs, starts on the front row of the grid and leads the race for most of the first segment, if you like, and looks as though he's heading that way again. Wilson security car, as you mentioned, Scafie, with just that rear tyre rubbing. It's actually the rear right that's rubbing against the guard and causing chaos for David Wall. So let's go further up the field to Craig Lowndes. It's Alex Prema behind him.
So this is 4th and 5th guys that we're looking at from the chopper there at the moment. Some margins to contemplate. Big battle here involving Rick Kelly and Jono Webb. These guys are just on the edge of the 10, so this is a good manoeuvre here. Rick Kelly up to 9th, and Jono back in 10th place, having tasted success here in both development series in years gone by and also in his V8 Supercar main game career. So a lot of chat on the radio also about rolling out of the throttle, the same old fuel-saving message that's going to these guys that I mentioned before who've got to try and find a way to get to the point where they can fill up once and get home. It's not going to be that easy.
And that great chopper shot that we had picked up Lowndes, who's in the last lap or so just got by Alex Prema. So Prema now 5th. So Slade, Whincup, Courtney, Lowndes, Prema, Bright, Moffat, Owen, Kelly and Webb, top 10. There's some really good drives amongst that. You've said, Matt, about Jason Bright and James Moffat. Steve Owen, very good. Rick Kelly now coming towards the front of the field. Michael Caruso has dropped some positions. He qualified well. He's back in 11th. Mark Winterbottom on that alternate strategy, or the traditional one that Neil explained, is currently 14th. One of the features of his performance today, he's got pretty much free track. So when he was out by himself, he made great lap speed and got that gap out to 6 seconds. He's now down in 14th, but he's 5 seconds away from the next car, which is Blanchard. So there's some good aspects to that. It means you can run your own race.
And Courtney's on for a season best result so far. His best to date's been the 4th at Bathurst. Remember, he had a bit of warfare going on there with the tyres. They just told him a moment ago on the radio, you're going well with the fuel. We need a little bit more, though. So it's the same old, you know, give them a bit of encouragement, but can you give us more? So he's rolling around there in third. He's got a Team Vodafone sandwich either side. Who's that just went straight through there? Caruso. So we'll watch him with interest. So Michael's just outside that top 10. Carl Reindler's the one sneaking underneath, and it doesn't look stable at all, does it?
I wonder whether he was also looking for going in search of some steering problems. Michael Caruso started a dart and weave. Only 4 guys inside the top 10 have managed to stay there. Tim Slade, Alex Premer, James Moffat and Rick Kelly. Reindler now moves up to 11th. He started 21st.
Gary Rogers looking on. This great shot. This is the train station. You arrive at the Sydney Olympic Park facility. And what a famous precinct this one is. The final 3 corners of this lap. 3.42 kilometre racetrack and Australia Avenue all the way down this big roller coaster ride into turn 1. Start finish straight.
7th place, James Moffat, Norton entry. He was one of the guys in the wet part of qualifying that was right at the top of the tree. He was making the most of it. He's found real pace in recent races. Strong at Abu Dhabi, strong at Winton. And leaving this outfit after tomorrow night on the move next year. New team for James Moffat and for Norton.
It's a great shot. This is turn 5.
It's interesting just hanging on to 4th gear there, Scapey, so you could hear the rev limiter 7,500 revs just protesting in the background rather than grabbing the extra gear. Some guys we heard earlier in the weekend actually using 5th very, very briefly to sneak around the corner. It's hard there because you've got to, if you do grab 5th, the car continues to accelerate. You've got all the unloaded weight on the left side of the car and you've got to stop it and then point it in the other direction through the bus stop chicane through 6 and 7. James just deciding not to bother with the extra upset by letting it continue to accelerate.
So it's the train station on your right now. Coming up to turn 11. We've seen some drama through the weekend. There's 2 double lefts to lead onto the straight. Whincup continues to apply the pressure to Tim Slade. It's only 0.39. Everybody's dramaing with engine temperature. They're all trying to conserve fuel at the same time.
The anti-roll bar adjustments, looks like he did both of them then, the rear and the front for Jamie. So a little tweak just to get the chassis to his satisfaction. Racing as quick as they dare, but at the same time, I'm sure trying to also manage to a fuel number. They want to get to about lap 48 or 49 to fill up and get home. We're on lap 40. He's got more pace at the moment, Whincup, hasn't he? He's just getting closer and closer. That's Wall in the foreground.
Just with Gary Rogers watching the front end of this race. And Alex Premer, Gary, at the start of the year, it was a bit of a gamble bringing the Frenchman over, but he's sitting in the top 5. He's come good at the end.
Well, he has. I mean, it's not the end yet, but certainly he's doing a really good job. I mean, he's never driven here, and it was a gamble, but it's been a tough gig for him, but he's kept his stiff upper lip, and, you know, I'm not easy. So
you said it, Gary.
Well, clearly, you know, hey, we got sponsors to support. You got to do the right thing. So let's hope and pray he keeps going along as good as he is.
Good pitch for a drive next year.
We'll be announcing our drivers in our categories in the first few weeks of the new year.
Look forward to that, Gary. Good on you.
Yeah, caught me there.
Almost got him, Barretts. So Alex Premer currently in 5th. His best performance this year, therefore his career best in V8 Supercars, is 13th at Simmons Plains, which was our 2nd event of 2012.
I reckon Gary's got a future in politics with that answer, don't you think? We'll tell you in a couple of months.
Yes, I hear your question, but I am ignoring it. I'm going to answer with whatever I'd like to say. Now, Wincup's just searching for a bit of cooler air here. I don't think there's such a thing out there at the moment, but certainly cooler than under the back of Tim's car. So he's just moving the car around a little bit at the moment, trying to ingest some better numbers. I think brake temps and engine temps a little better, but he is just millimetres closer. It's a good test for both of these guys. They're at the hard work end of this race now, so you're really going to feel it. Doesn't matter how efficient the cool suit is, this is going to be very hard physically.
Remember last year at Queensland Raceway, Crompo, when we said it was the weekend that Tim Slade came of age. It was the weekend that Craig Lowndes went berserk and just won everything in front of him. But Slade went with him the whole way. Finished with a brace of seconds. He comes here today, gets his first career pole position, and he is literally in the driver's seat to get his first ever V8 Supercar victory. Back after this. But it's impossible to comprehend just how hot it is inside the cabins of these cars. Well and truly up over 50 degrees. They've been going now for an hour and a quarter. And talk about going. Jason Bright gets into Alex Prema, and it was almost going, gone. For some reason, Bright decided just to go full throttle at Prema. Down here, Prema has to take evasive action. He then redressed the speed because he would have been facing a penalty. Bright decided to have another go at it, carries way too much speed, and car 33, that's the replay of him just darting through off the right-hand side. Then further down, car 33 goes, hang on, I'm getting out of this. Car 8 goes into the wall.
Yeah, so Alex ran wide at turn 1, and that was what made the initial contact. There was a mess at turn 2 between them. They all clumsied their way through these chicanes, and there they go. And then that's turn 8, Bright straight ahead. As soon as you're wide there and you can't get the car tucked into the apex, gee, it's slippery. And we've seen every year we've been here, and this is the 4th, we see people come unglued there.
It was almost like Jason Bright, a man of so much experience, was just in a hurry to get it over and done with. It just frustration, and maybe that's what I'm talking about. They've been going for over an hour and a quarter now, or just on an hour and a quarter. They'd be fatigued mentally.
Up and Bright in, so it's ongoing, and that'll trigger a safety car. That'll come at an opportune moment, and what will happen here is that will let the guys off the hook that I've been talking about. So they'll be in, they'll get their fuel. The safety car will protect those that are on the strategy, like Slade, Whincup, Courtney, etc.
Jason Bright, he got caught with Prema. He caused the first part of the Bright thing with the contact on the way out of here, so that's in the turn 1 into the fence, and then they had a drama at turn 2 and turn 3, and then there was a massive drama after that at turn 8. So Jason didn't need to do that. He was on for a good result, and now the field is in.
Now watch, because
I don't know about roll centre. It's making the rear worse, I think.
So watch these two teams now. The
Actually,
focus.
I don't know.
That's interesting. They had a slow stop with the left rear before for Tim Slade. And this is the refuel to the finish. They'll also have to fuel save a little.
That's Lowndes parked up, so he's stacking.
Oh, sorry, no, it's Whincup. So Whincup has allowed Lowndes to go past. Whincup has decided to pull over in pit lane and allow Craig Lowndes to go past. Remember, in Championship World, Craig Lowndes is fighting for second in the championship. Team Vodafone are clearly right there, aiming for a 1-2 in the championship.
And you're right, go.
And the guy that made unbelievable ground was Courtney. Courtney was just, he closed straight up onto the back of the 2 leaders as Whincup and Slade. Webb now pushes Owen down pit lane.
Go.
Mark Winterbottom now getting his stop done. He's currently 12th. Whincup now has been serviced, so he goes back out. He resumes in 10th position. So Caruso, Slade, Lowndes, Courtney, Moffat, Prema.
And this guy, Mark Winterbottom, is 13th. So Lowndes, the beneficiary there, 3rd. So in that little battle, they came in with 63 points separating them in the battle for 2nd and 3rd in the championship.
So a free kick for Craig Lowndes from his teammate.
So I don't know whether Crusoe stopped. I don't think he has. No.
No,
So
he's stopped on lap 14. Correction, 19. So Slade will now have this battle with Lowndes that we previously spoke about back in 2011. It was a different finish that time around. So he's got familiar company to the end.
Guys, this is amazing. The temperature is so hot today. Something has happened in the cabin of David Reynolds' car. His shoe has melted. They are standing by with a replacement boot for David Reynolds, which in this stop they will attempt to fit. So somewhere in this stop, they're going to open the door, reach in, rip one melted boot off Dave Reynolds and replace it with a fresh boot.
I tell you what will be going on there, Barretts. I actually happened to stick my heat gun on a few of the drivers' pedals when on the grid, and I saw between 37 degrees, which was Mark Winterbottom's, and I saw up to 60 degrees centigrade because the heat comes through the engine, through the metal floor, no carpet, no insulation, up through the steel pedal. Some guys run a groovy little insulator behind there that works beautifully. Some guys don't. I don't know what Davey's got, but it would be certainly hot enough to melt the boots off the bottom of your feet.
Whatever he's got, it isn't good enough.
Exactly. I heard on the radio, and he was saying, my boot's broken, my boot's broken. So he's had to take a glove off so that he can actually make this all happen. This will be quite funny. We've never seen this. There's been a few unique instances here.
So Marcus is going to jump in and do it for you.
Actually, the sole's coming off it as well. He's trying to do the laces. The sole's coming off that boot.
So, guys, Dave Reynolds has just pulled in. The door's been opened. The netting is down. It's his right boot. They've got the leg up. They're now trying to somehow, without Dave unfastening himself from the seat belts, they're trying to get the right boot off and put a new right boot on.
Can you just see where they've got a double knot there, Barretts?
It's a bow, Scapey.
Yeah.
I have never seen this done before.
Single knot will be faster.
Come in for new boots, mate.
Davey just said, oh, new boots, mate. Trade it up.
Seriously.
It had to happen today, didn't it?
You hear the boys on the radio saying we're in for new boots, but taking it a bit literally in there.
Guys, this is a very slow boot change.
Oh, there she is.
Oh, she's ordinary.
Mate, so you'll be clear to go when you drop at the moment, okay? Still clear.
This is how he stepped on some chewing gum.
Yeah. This is not going well, Barretts.
No. They're really going to have to work on this before next season.
They've got to practice this.
Yeah.
Letting themselves down on the boot change.
Look at Davey just looking on.
Guys, just have a quick look at that. That is the boot that's come off. Look, completely delaminated, busted, burnt, melted, gone.
Can you confirm or deny that Davey Reynolds is currently getting a pedicure?
He could be. Oh, that
You're clear to go when we drop, okay? Clear to go.
Looks awfully like the boot you had on last night's cake after a glass and a half of that light beer.
Wobbly boot.
So there's Jamie just peeling into the dead area in the pit lane there, just waiting for a moment, and that's his teammate Craig Lowndes wheeling on by. So then Jamie resumes normal business and gets in the queue.
Oh, this is the most bizarre event I reckon I've ever seen.
We've seen some unbelievable things at this site.
Well, it's known as the Premier State New South Wales for sports and major events. And if it is worth seeing, well, it's on in New South Wales and it's on this afternoon. Sydney.com is the website to go to check out this fabulous city. At this time of the year, it absolutely sparkles.
And for everybody having a difficult run in their race car this afternoon, the harbour is going to be such an appealing thought to jump into.
That's right.
Because if you're anywhere outside the top 10, all you want to do is get out of there and get in the water, go to the northern beaches.
Go for it, mate.
All right, so Michael Caruso
Green flag.
is in charge of the field. He will have to stop, though, to get to the end of this race.
Look at the restart.
Well, that's gap there. It's supposed to be 5 car lengths, so it's some massive gaps.
Look at this.
Then it's Slade, then Lowndes, Courtney, Moffat. Alex Premer holding down that top 10 position. Steve Owen, Jono Webb, there goes Rick Kelly. Now they're all starting to bunch up tighter at the front of the field. Forget about midfield, they've dropped them.
What's going on there at all?
Yeah, it's unusual, and one of the reasons is the rule never gets enforced. So if it can, it will.
Yeah. But just to disadvantage your own run. I mean, there's 100 metres between cars.
So let's remember that Jamie Whincup was effectively second in the battle against, well, he was second in the battle against Tim Slade. Before that last round of pit stops, he pulled over in pit lane to let his teammate through. So Craig Lowndes is now the man who's tucked in behind Slade.
Where some action may come from now is Courtney, Moffat and Prema. Three guys that we've seen battling hard throughout the year, and all three of them on for a very good result here today if they keep their head.
I was looking forward to see what was going to happen in the Whincup versus Slade pit stop battle. So we were denied that, unfortunately.
It's an interesting call. They talked about it pre-event. Made no secret of the fact that they wanted to work as a team in the championship. They're farewelling Vodafone after a hugely successful partnership. There'd be no better way than to end this era at 888 than to finish 1-2. So they're making their intentions clear. Look at James Moffat now 5th.
One thing to keep in mind, boys, you'd be a brave person to bet against any further safety car intervention, but just got to remember that we haven't actually clicked into the zone where you can theoretically get home on a tank of fuel, which means everybody's going to have to be in massive conservation mode.
Oh, that was Lowndes against the fence again, very hard. Didn't just knock the mirror off. In fact, he's only just made turn 8. He knocked the mirror off, but it hit the rear guard on the fence. So this is down Dawn Fraser Avenue.
So the lap speed is a little bit slower because of the heat. That may be okay, but I think you'll find as this race continues to wear on, so long as it's green, you're going to have people having to be very, very careful with how they manage their superengine bioethanol burn here and how much fuel they use. We use a number of about 3 litres per lap. Teams work on kilos.
Russo in. So the real lead of the race, Tim Slade, resumes position 1. So Slade, Lowndes, Courtney, Moffat, Caruso in the pit. Prema, Owen, Webb, Kelly, Ingle back into the top 10. Whincup, Winterbottom, 11th and 12th. It's a rear sway bar, stabiliser bar being changed. In terms of, yeah, it's a weird rotation style system that they've got. You see some of the guys have got levers. They've actually got a little winding mechanism. Like they're doing as much work as you normally see him do, just standing at the back of Michael's car, spectating.
Look how tight it is now. Provisionally between 2nd and 3rd. So that gamble or that move to get Lowndes further up the field by Team Vodafone puts him into 2nd in the championship. But with 26 laps remaining in this race, you'd be pretty silly to say it's going to finish the way it is right now. There's still a lot more to play out.
What we've also seen over the last couple of years is HRT have very good fuel economy. Of those front 3 cars, probably the best fuel economy. So Neil's point was absolutely right. They've all stopped before you could genuinely make it home on our critical lap number that Mark Larkin explained at the start of the event. So they're all going to have to conserve fuel. Clearly, if another safety car comes out, then that is not as big an issue. But Slade, Lowndes, Courtney, Moffat, Prema, all will have to conserve fuel. Steve Owen's also in that battle. He's done a very good job. He's up into 6th, so he's emerging as one of the league contenders also.
I know it's a long way from being concluded at this point, but we're also staring at the possibility of the first non-Ford Performance Racing or Team Vodafone victory for 2012. There's been a lot of people in the pit paddock who've been keen to see some variety. A lot of fans have been talking about it as well. So with HRT in 3rd, Lucky 7 and Stone Brothers 1st there at the moment, we might get a random and slightly different result here. Lowndes will do his best to make sure that he spoils that party.
Well, they've just been greedy, haven't they? They have 28 races between the 2 teams.
So Moffat's dropped off the back of this battle a little bit. He was right up behind Courtney before. Black flag car 2.
Speeding in pit lane. So Garth Tander will have to serve a pit lane penalty.
Currently 18. So Slade's getting some pressure now. Lowndes will be actually seeing the car 22 Toll Holton Racing Team Commodore emerge onto the back of him. So he'll be then saying, I need to get up and attack the back of Tim Slade's Lucky 7 Falcon. And as you can see, that gap has closed up. Top 3 cars now all line astern as they swoop down this fantastic pit straight.
So you heard in the background there, that's pretty much the number we need. They're talking about fuel. And remember, it's the same for everybody because they're all tied to the same strategy for those that stopped when the safety car came out. This is a little gamesmanship going on here perhaps as well. So you've got Winterbottom in 11th at the moment, Whincup in 10th. We're looking from Jamie's rear bumper, and no doubt he'll be working pretty hard at making sure he keeps Frosty in that position.
Amazing how it pans out, isn't it? Now gives Whincup the #1 spot to try and hold off Winterbottom and keep him as far away from Lowndes as possible in the battle for second in the championship.
Here, tyres tearing on the road through turn 8 there. Not sure which of those 2 cars, but they were just chattering across the road surface. These fellas at the moment, sorry,
mate. Ingall's looking pretty pacey there. I didn't see him before, but he's come back up into 9th position after that drama with Courtney, and has really climbed onto the back of Rick Kelly in the last couple of laps. So his pace is good. So they've obviously repaired that car properly. I was concerned before that the damage may have been a little more than we first thought.
These blokes are only 7 seconds off the lead of the race, by the way, so you can see it. In fact, that's a perfect illustration under the Sydney.com signage there on the run into turn 1. Just precisely the gaps. That's what the 7 seconds looks like. There it is. So they're not that far out of touch with the guys at the sharp end of the field. And Duddo's just asking Jamie to do the big roll-off into 2. What he means there is just roll out of the throttle, come back to 0% on the throttle before you apply the brake. Just stop pumping fuel into it. So he's driving to that fuel conservation strategy that I spoke of before.
And Winterbottom looks strong, doesn't he? The car looks better than Jamie's. It's got really good mid-corner grip. It's got really good flow going. Doesn't look like he has to work the car as hard.
Actually, I thought James Moffat, if he didn't touch the fence on the exit of 7, then he went seriously close to it. Caruso just smashing through the turn 2 curb there. These guys are the walking wounded, Will Davison and David Reynolds, but Davey's all gripped up. New right boot, new shoe. Go. Watch me stand on that throttle pedal now. That is bizarre. 2 bizarre things in one day. Medical car KO'd. Davey gets a right boot. Didn't see that script coming.
Oh, I thought he was going to bump him then. That was very close.
That's Ingle peeling off out of position 11.
This is...
So even more was the word from Mark Dutton to Jamie Whincup then, meaning stop burning fuel.
And remember, because they all stopped at the same time there, if they've got that level of communication going with Whincup to make it home, then Lowndes is going way faster and he's up the road a little bit. So everybody will be in this position. And oh, that was very close. Right out sideways. He actually gave him a bump. He definitely made contact. Mark Winterbottom then slid the back of the car all the way and ricocheted off the back of Whincup at turn 2 and turn 3. Pushed him offline. You can see there's a bit of anxious teamwork there with Jeremy Moore looking down. Matt Nilsson from FPR in the bottom of screen.
They are going to park the Tander car, by the way. So he's down in 19th at the moment. So they've got alternator dramas and then a pit lane drive-through penalty for the speeding. So they're just parking car 2. Here it is getting the replay down at turn 2. Check this out. So remember that Jamie's apparently driving to a pretty serious number here at the moment. It looks like Frosty's got pace on him. He's going to get frustrated. He's lucky to get away with that without slapping it on the wall.
it's all crossed up. Meanwhile, Tim Slade has Craig Lowndes 0.4 of a second behind him.
And Wes McDougall's saying to Tim a little bit more again. So this is going to get very interesting because the drivers don't want to clearly relax the race speed. They want to hold their position at the moment. But we're a long, long way from home, and they're going to have to roll out of it or they're not going to make it.
Well, Neil, let's try and find out. I want to pin the question on the good mate Adrian Burgess here. He'll tell us everything. We know this is going to be tight, mate. We can hear the comments of the drivers. Just how tight are you going to be on fuel?
Yeah, we're going to be very tight. That's obviously both drivers are saving fuel at the moment, but yeah.
And the sorts of strategies, sorry, Adrian, you're doing to, we can hear about rolling off the throttle. What other sorts of things are they doing?
We're just taking it easy mid-corner, just being careful with the fuel everywhere we can. Definitely rolling off on the way into 1 and 2 and a couple others. We're just, doing everything we can. It's going to be bloody tight, but we should be all right.
Well, just watch the telecast, mate. I'm going to go and talk to the competition. We'll see what they're doing.
Well, I like it.
Because Adrian's got nothing else to do.
Fair bit they'll be doing the same thing. We're looking forward from the front bumper of the Orcon Steel Ford Performance Racing Falcon of Mark Winterbottom, and that's the rear bumper of Jamie Wincup's car. There's turn 9. Sydney Olympic Park railway station to the right. Coming up here now to turn 11. Second gear. Seen a bit of action there over the years. Last 2 corners here. It's a very tiny little straight short shoot into the final corner, and that curve on the inside really upsets the car. See all the scars on the concrete wall down the right-hand side for those that didn't quite get the margin right as they picked the throttle up on the exit.
So this is 1, 2 and 3 on the road. James Courtney, by the way, hasn't been on the podium since Sandown last year.
Steve Owens starting to move around, also having a look at his teammate James Moffat. These fellas are battling for 4th and 5th at the moment. Both the cars from Dick Johnson Racing, but VIP Pet Foods in the case of Owen, the Norton car for Moffat. Moffat on the move next year. We haven't got a clarification of Steve Owens' position for next year. Then it's Jonathan Webb, Alex Prema still inside the 10. Rick Kelly is next in 8th, then Whincup and Winterbottom.
Mark Winterbottom just said, Mark Dutton just said to Jamie Whincup that you either conserve or we've got to do another stop. Meaning you either press on and we've got to come in or you've got to conserve. So it was a very factual, very harsh discussion between those two guys.
Down here with Wes McDougall, Timmy Slade's engineer. Now, I'm going to go and talk to Adrian Burgess in a minute, mate. I haven't spoken to him yet. Just wondering, no, I have actually. We have. We know they're tight on fuel. Obviously, you guys the same, and how are you going to manage it?
Yeah, I mean, we've got good experience here last year, same thing on Saturday. So Tim did a really good job last year. We're just at the front. We're not going to give it up. We're going to stay at the front and do our best.
And Wes, from your point of view, what sort of strategies can Tim be using to save fuel out there?
All sorts of things. We're helping him with fuel trim switch and just like what you talk on the commentary, rolling out under braking zones. It's good for it here, long straights, slow corners.
All right, mate, I really appreciate you listening to my advice because no one else does. Good job and good luck. Great to see Timmy up there.
That was a positional move for Rick Kelly to 7th on Alex Prema. Oh, and goes straight ahead. Turn 2. Oh, seriously close to contact between those two. Whincup's mixed up in this and so is Winterbottom. That was very messy. Alex was having problems with the rear of the car when Larko was having a chat to Wes, who was sliding around a lot. It's amazing how things can ignite quickly. And by the way, we're going commercial free to the end of the telecast, folks. So you're going to enjoy the back end of the first part of the Sydney Telstra 500 and look at all this unfolding.
Little tap too for Alex Prema from Mark Winterbottom. This could have been absolute disaster. The rejoin, watch this. Rick Kelly comes back in. Prema is...
did a good job. He did a really good job. Prema, to miss him, did a really good job. Oh, that's Richard Holloway. Look at the reaction. And honestly, he had no way of knowing what Rick was going to do when he re-entered the circuit. Did a fantastic job not to fire Rick Kelly in the fence then.
Rick will be angry because he's just gone through all the process and the hard work of making a good pass at turn 1. It's on again here now. Oh no, and nearly tagging Moffat. Webb's in here as well. So these guys 4th, 5th and 6th.
Steve Owen looked as though he had enough car speed to get on the inside of James Moffat down there at turn 1 from our chopper shot, but it was different down roadside. So Jono Webb is the watching brief behind them. Moffat 4th. You have to go back to 1988 to find the name Moffat on the podium. One spot away. But currently the battle's coming from behind. He's not in a position to start a charge at James Courtney. He's got to shake off Owen and Webb. Back up to the front. Position remains the same. Tim Slade in search of his first ever career win. Got Craig Lowndes hunting him down. A couple of cars. Oh, it's Moffat and Owen.
At 9. They've gone straight down there in their little bit of Biffo and arguing for position. They haven't been able to get it done cleanly.
So there's definite contact, and even more as Rick Kelly tries to thread his way past and can't do so. Getting lively again.
Got bent steering now, mate. Got bent steering. What a body ticket.
Whincup will take advantage of any little...
You're just going to hang it for 17.
Any little further mistake, Kelly will go past. So that puts Rick up into 5th.
Whincup will easily sneak past here, so James is limping there at the moment. I don't think the balance of the car was great anyway prior to all this. And I think it was him in the background talking about bent steering. Ian Walburn, his engineer, on the radio responding. So here's what happened at turn 9. So that was just messy.
And there is lots of ag between the guys in that pit. Paul Morris on the radio to Steve Owen.
Frosty up the inside now and puts a clean move on James Moffat. So Steve Owen dive bombing down the inside. Didn't look like he was going to be able to pull it up and turn it, and then James turned in, made the contact. Back to the front of the field.
And the bit that staggers me at the moment is these 3 guys are going to struggle to make it home. I can't understand if they're going to make it home or not based on how fast they're going, Cropper.
So Tim Slade trying to hold off Craig Lowndes. Take one more break, then we'll go commercial free all the way to the finish of this one. 15 laps to go here in the second last race of the season. This is your top 3, Tim Slade, Craig Lowndes and James Courtney. But Alex Premer, who's been running inside the top 10 all day, on track for his career best finish, is now in pit lane. Now, they're giving him a drink.
Yeah, they're hydrating him, so he may have an issue.
We're out of it now.
So he was off the road down here, and then while we're in the break, they brought him in, stuck fuel in it and tyres, and they're attending to him at the moment. Damien White's up there from V8 Supercar. Maybe he got to the bottom of his drink bottle.
I think he's done. I think they're actually calling the medics there. So they've got a few problems there. We couldn't understand why 33 came in. They decided to fill her up while he was there, give him some fresh tyres, but clearly that's a driver issue. It has been extraordinarily hot today, edging 40 degrees. Down their trackside, it's over 40 degrees, and inside the cabin, it's closer to 60 plus.
Call for the medical delegate, Dr. Carl Lee, so they'll have to bring him down in. Trizzy off the road at 2, and it looked like James Moffat was mixed up in all that too.
There's Will Davison, by the way, back out there. With a steering breakage, yep.
Okay,
the Frenchman is suffering big time.
Not good images, and once you lose all the body fluid, particularly if he had any kind of cool suit issues, you can't rehydrate quick enough in the car, and it's quite a sickly feeling. The water feels hot, and can't get it all sorted again. So Alex is in good hands.
Follow their pace now.
What's happened there?
So it's changed. So we've got Lowndes in control from Courtney and Slade while all that was going on. And this may be strategic on the part of 47, because remember they lost a race here last year. No, it was a mistake at 9. So locked the rears, made a mistake, a critical error for Tim Slade while we're in the pit lane. He did gather it up, fortunately, and that changes the order here. So it's now Lowndes, Courtney, Slade, 1, 2, 3. Little error at turn 9 there for Tim Slade.
Craig Lowndes has won 6 races this season. He won here on the corresponding day last year.
So he'd be the only guy, if he pulls this off, to put together multiple victories here, because we've had 6 races and 6 winners.
James Courtney's the other. If he could climb over Lowndes, he could become the first multiple winner. He did Sunday lap, Sunday parade lap on back in 2009. So Patrizzi, Moffat, Reindler, crunch. That's what happened. 91 into 18.
So this is at turn 2, and that's Steve Owen cruising by in the background there as well. The onboard view of it.
That was definitely Michael Patrizzi's fault, that one. As you can see there, not going to make it. Still straight. He's missed the turn-in point and runs into the back of James Moffat. So we've seen so much drama here at turn 2 over the weekend. Our slow-mo's caught all the action, qualifying and racing. You can see there the Norton Falcon being spun around. Rick Kelly is up into 5th position. So Craig Lowndes, Courtney, Slade, Webb, Kelly, Whincup, Winterbottom, Owen, Reindler and D'Alberto are the top 10. Rick Kelly, good job to be in 5th. Interesting to see, they haven't normally this year had very good fuel economy, so when everyone's battling to make it home, it'll be interesting to see what happens with Rick. They've all basically stopped on lap 44. Now 63 of 74.
Michael Patrizzi's going to get black flag, pit lane drive-through penalty for his problem down at turn 2 there, dive bombing James Moffat, so he'll tour the pit lane shortly. Takes him out of 13th position.
Great piece of road. It's the end of Dawn Fraser Avenue at turn 9.
It's a great passing spot because it's a short chute. So you've got to take the risk to get in underneath the guy, but then you've got absolutely no room to pull it up and go for the right-hander at 10.
Even though he's out of it, Will Davison down in 21st position, and there's Frosty coming in. They're talking about brakes on Will's car. Will's saying it just won't stop.
There, Frosty, we're just gonna do fuel on your car. Yep, just gonna do fuel and no tyres, right? Stop on the mark. Stop on the mark. Everyone got that, boys? Fuel only. This is a quick stop, Frosty.
Remember, they're all forced into that stop when Bright went into the wall, which is earlier than everybody wanted.
So when these guys are doing this, you've still got to say, what are the front guys doing?
Yeah. I reckon they're rolling the dice that there's going to be a safety car. That's what they're doing.
It's a big punt, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah, just a quick update on Alex Prema. They're just taking him off. He has been conscious the whole time. I've been watching. The doctors are attending him, so we'll report in later. Clearly, I'd say he's dehydrated. It's a tough gig out there, we know that.
Yeah, it's an hour and 48 minutes worth of racing right now, and throwing qualifying as well under these conditions. We hope that Alex is okay and can come back tomorrow. Hope it's cooler tomorrow. Here we go, back down here at turn 9.
5th and 6th.
Still pestering Rick Kelly.
And you hear that big roll out of the throttle then at the end of Dawn Fraser Avenue. We'll hear that a lot on board with these guys now. So at the end of the main straight here, they'll do it again. And then up into turn 2, they'll do it there. And they'll do it down into turn 5 instead of being on the rev limiter, just come out of the throttle nicely. Same up into turn 8, and again where we saw at turn 9.
So James Courtney to your list of drivers who'll be coming home on fumes, running very tight in the tank for JC.
Yeah, I think they're all in the same boat. So Courtney on for his best result of the year. Even if he does roll out of it now and doesn't chase the victory, it'll be an important points grab and a nice way to finish the year for what's been a tough one for him. He was really unhappy with the car in practice yesterday.
If he could break the stranglehold of the Team Vodafone FPR winning streak this year, then it would give the Holden Racing team its first victory since last year at Bathurst. It would give James his first win since Abu Dhabi last year in his 100th event. The numbers would stack up nicely. But this one's all about fuel from here on in. And that includes the possibility of the safety car, because that will play a critical role in determining who gets to the end.
Smooth, nice and straight.
So it was a 30.9 for Lowndes, a 30.7 for Courtney, a 30.9 for Slade. Webb did a 32.1. Kelly and Whincup are in the mid-31s, and Owen and Reindler are into the low 31s. Tony D'Alberto, after a fraught race, actually got himself back inside the top 10. He's 9th at the moment, and then James Moffat, despite also being in the wars at various stages, is 10th.
Just must be such a tough time for the drivers, edging towards 2 hours in the cockpit, mentally, physically worn out. And now you've got to play this game, this fuel conservation game, when every instinct as a race driver tells you to attack, attack, attack. Running through this field, Lowndes, Courtney, then Slade. Davey Reynolds, as we know, is out of sync. So there's position 4, Jono Webb. Then back to Rick Kelly and Jamie Whincup. Whincup in 6th. A bit more distance back to Steve Owen. Then Carl Reindler. There's Tony D'Alberto, who's had a few trips through pit lane 2, in fact, serving penalties. And James Moffat should have been further up the list. He was tangled up with Steve Owen. Tim Blanchard. Comes Michael Caruso. That was Taz Douglas, who was also out of sync. So that takes you down to position 12, and then we find Mark Winterbottom 13th. We're all strung out right around this precinct.
I hate doing this. Burjo, sorry to bother you again, mate. I hate doing this. Craig Lowndes, how close?
Oh, we think we're safe. We're more worried with this one than that one.
Yeah, we heard Dado saying there before you're not going to make it on current trim.
We'll see in a minute. We're very close. I mean, he's given us some big numbers now, which we've demanded. He's got to, or we're in the pit lane. So it's one or the other. You can't do both, as we've seen. The other car's good. This car will get it home.
Ever thought about a career in politics?
Oh, no.
Where would he work, Largo?
Sort of half got one, don't you? Anyway. The sun is shining down here at turn 9. It's a Novotel right beneath us. A Coates Hire chopper follows them around the train station. Pavilion on our left-hand side, which at Easter is where you go in and buy your show bags. In December, you go in and see the transporters and the cars, the V8 Supercars, and our host studio for the weekend. It's quite a unique sight. The run down here to turn 1, spectacular pit lane complex, corporate areas as well. Quite a dramatic fall away in the road by the time you get from turn 13 down to 1. And then the charge along the bottom part of the circuit up towards Olympic Boulevard. The merchandise alley has been well frequented this weekend. Here we go, turns 2, 3 and 4. So Lowndes leads them through. And Courtney looks to me as though he's just happy to get to the end in that position. I mean, nobody's really got enough gas to have a good crack. ANZ Stadium on the left. Site of so many spectacular sporting venues. And this Sydney Telstra 500 is carving its own folklore into this precinct. It always delivers something unique, and it certainly has today. The big question is, who can get to the end? Who can get to 74 laps with enough fuel to greet the checkered flag? Will it be one of our top 3? Will they cough and splutter and run out?
Gee, the amount of rollout on the throttle then for Jamie at the end of the run down into turn 9, excuse me, was just a massive lift-off. Huge, nothing like you do in qualifying. So he's 6th at the moment. As you heard when Mark was talking to Adrian, they've got to really try and sort out the numbers. So you won't hear it here in the run to the final corner, but when we get down to turn 1, just have a listen to how much Jamie rolls out. You don't hear the normal hard on the throttle and then hard on the brake.
Big numbers, thank you.
Now, so it's, you just hear it straight out of it.
There's a big gap between lifting your right foot and then applying the brake.
There'll be another one up here. So hard on the throttle now. And now, that's rolled out now. So it's a long way. That's 100 metres before the braking area. But he's right out of the throttle. They can do it easily in this next section. So this is out of turn 4. Little slide, so he's on the throttle. But then he's just here. He can just come out again. Even with the down changes there, not as much throttle as you would normally use to come back 2 gears. And we heard before Neil made comment of this next run down Dawn Fraser Avenue into turn 9. A big rollout. Listen for this. There. So all the way down through that last part before you get to the roller coaster, he's off the throttle.
50 for the next few to build a buffer. I want 50 for the next few. We're talking the smallest buffer ever. 50, please.
Now remember, he only just got home on fumes at Bathurst, and it worked pretty well, but smallest number ever, and you can tell the urgency in Mark Dutton's voice. I was surprised in the run into turn 2. It wasn't just an early rollout, it was actually a lift off.
Yeah.
So,
I'll try to get that. 5 to go. We'll lose too many positions dropping back. Kelly and them will drop back later, mate. We'll do that on the last lap. Just get me to the last lap, thanks.
You can see the urgency on Mark Dutton's face, and you can hear by that language that we've been listening to the communication between Jamie and Mark. And again, you hear that rollout, it's massive.
Slade's working the back of Courtney here, as I just noticed on the data, and there's the shot to confirm. So he's got closer to the back of James Courtney, who's drifted a bit from Craig Lowndes. Lowndes looks like he's just blazing along at the moment. It's hard to imagine why there'd be such a disparity between those 2 cars, but there is. So it could be just the way Craig's done his stint. Look at this, Slade down the inside. Looks like he might grab him here, and has easily. So James got the same problem. The only reason that could happen so easily would be Courtney lifting off early. So Slade resuming, trying to get back up the front again after having to relinquish a few laps ago into turn 9. He made that mistake, had the rear brakes locked. He sets off after Lowndes.
Oh, he just hit the fence hard on the exit just then. That was a big hit. That was a big hit. You can see him just move the steering around a little bit.
Easily done, isn't it, at the end of the day when the grip's low, car's much lighter, 90 odd, well, it's actually less than that, isn't it, but they're burning the fuel down at the rate of 3 litres a lap, and tyres are down, so the thing's sliding all over the place. And if you just pick the throttle up a little bit early, it's so easy just to clobber that wall.
So we predicted that Lowndes would be in the same sort of trouble that Whincup is for fuel consumption. And we said that Courtney was probably going to be the best of that front group. But as it's working out now, Courtney back into 3rd position. Slade moves by. And Craig Lowndes keeps on pushing on. Their lap speed's about a second slower than they would normally be going based on fuel conservation. But still, Lowndes and Whincup, who pitted on exactly the same lap 44 for most of the field, and Whincup in serious fuel conservation mode.
So they start with just a little less than 60 kilos of fuel with these 75-litre tanks on, and they're getting towards the end of that now, so the rear of the car's a lot different in its feel and its behaviour to the way in which it started the stint at least. Here's Lowndes.
30 on the fuel.
1 minute 30.6, and that time then was matched to the thousandth virtually. There's only 4 1,000ths different between Lowndes and Slades. So incredible. Two of them are locked on the same speed. 32.8 for Courtney, so he's come right out of it speed-wise. Webb's done a 34.3, so that's miles away. Kelly 32.1, Whincup 32.1. So the only guys that are pressing on here at the moment are Lowndes and Slade.
Nunes has just pointed out 15 cars on the lead lap. The average at the end of this race has been 14.7, so it's the only thing that's been average today. It was a nice clean move from Tim Slade, but just seconds later carries too much speed on the exit of turn 13.
That was a big biff.
So he won the last race at Winton, Craig Lowndes. He won the first race here last year.
49's going to pit Steve Owens, so VIP Pet Foods entry will be in. He's not going to get to the end on this load of fuel.
If Lowndes can continue and win, he'll not only become the first multiple winner on these streets, but also consolidate second in the championship.
All good, mate. Fuel is good. We'll go to blue 2. Blue 2, 2 laps to go.
It's all good news. It's all good news. Which is extraordinary when you think what's happening on the other side of the Team Vodafone garage.
It just doesn't make any sense to me. I can't work it out. The speed that Craig is driving the car, they're talking to him very positively about it not having any problem at all.
Well, Lowndes' last lap was 29.9.
2 laps to go. Big numbers. Gap behind safe. 4.27. Massive lift off.
So that's, well, to hear the lift off there, the corresponding lift from Jamie to turn 1.
I don't think it's going to come soon, mate.
Not going to be able to, mate. We haven't been able to conserve enough, mate. Just keep doing what you're doing. We'll get to the end. P6 is good for what we've done this race.
I just wonder, because it's such a weird situation to have car 888 with so much gas, so much to run, and car 1 none. I wonder when they decided to flip them around in pit lane, did they keep Jamie Whincup there for the full time to fill him up, or did they just shorten him down a little bit because he lost a bit of time in pit lane?
Yeah, well, Matty, it could well be something like that. I just peered over the boys' shoulders on both their computer screens, and both of them are using almost an identical amount of fuel at the moment. So there's not difference out there as they're driving them now. It's happened during the course of the race.
So Courtney's falling back into the clutches of Webb. So he's only... he's still third, obviously, but Webb now moving along in fourth. He's had to back right off. Webb, the previous lap, was 4 seconds slower than Lowndes. So Lowndes does a 30.96, Slade 30.58, Courtney 37.55, 7 seconds. Webb 34.25, Rick Kelly 34.9, Whincup 35.2, 5 seconds slower than Lowndes.
So that is a bit slower. Tim's still close enough to be a nuisance here, isn't he? He's going with him.
Jeremy Moore just telling Lounsey that the fuel's good, just don't lose position. It's not bad advice when you're leading the race on the last lap. So Craig Lowndes is en route to his 7th race win of 2012. And they came here with a mission this weekend to finish 1-2 in the championship. To claim a race win would be a bonus. They played a team game throughout this one. They played a fuel game as well. And Lowndes is going to clock up his 89th career win and become the first multiple winner on the streets of Sydney Olympic Park. Great job, Tim Slade. He's on the podium after starting from pole.
It's on.
It's on, all right. Lowndes now in second in the championship. James Courtney is trying and trying to make it. I think I can. He's going to get around and get on the podium.
Good job, buddy. Nice job. P3, nice job, mate. Great. Well done.
There's Matt Crawford. Oh! How's the last piece there? There's a massive race at the end there for Whincup to get by. So he gets by Rick Kelly, and he almost got Webb.
Good result after all that. Thanks, Dano.
He wanted to know when he could put down the hammer.
No, all good. Well done. Well done.
He put it down on turn 13. So Webb in 4th. Great drive from Jono Webb. Whincup 5th. Then Rick Kelly, Carl Reindler, James Moffat, Mark Winterbottom and Michael Caruso. Lowndes. 2 victories now at the Sydney Telstra 500. Like I said, 7 for the year. Look at this. Oh, push and shove.
That was close.
There's not a lot of room there on either side if things go haywire.
Great job, Tim Slade. Very, very good job over the weekend. First pole position and a great race to be right up there with Lowndes.
So in the final weekend of Ford versus Holden exclusive, it's Holden getting the win. Slade and Courtney will fill up the podium, and boy, will they be looking forward to that to get some hydration. Reindler there inside the top 7, and James Moffat was always fighting today, so that's a great result for him to be top 10, along with Michael Caruso. And you'd have to say that Alex Premer there in position 20, who's gone off to the medical centre here, would probably have joined them inside the top 10, but the conditions here got the better of the Frenchman, while the circuit got the better of the rest of them. Look at all those DNFs. And Lowndes had enough in the tank at the end to be unchallenged. He started in 16th. Back-to-back wins after doing a sterling job on Sunday at Winton. And they continue that roll, Scafie. Nobody's been able to break through against Team Vodafone or FPR this year.
It was a very good drive, wasn't it? Very good drive. And staggering difference in the fuel economy at the end there between Lowndes and Whincup. There's a lot of drivers complaining over the radio that they're actually in physical, there's some real physical drama, and a couple of guys are asking for medical attention. So the demand of a race like this in these conditions, very tough on them today.
Yeah, and I'm not surprised.
Craig Lowndes, congratulations. You pull out the big results right when you need them. That was a beauty.
Yeah, thanks, Brett. I think it's a credit to the team, because obviously, you know, I thank Jamie really, because to be able to obviously not queue in pit lane, you know, helped me obviously get to where I wanted to be. We had a great race with Slady, and now it's a credit to them boys. It's a shame that he had his little off, but to all our guys, look, thank you very much. To Levi and Chili back home, hopefully they're having a good day, because it was damn hot in there.
How hard was it, Lowndesy, today?
Look, it wasn't too bad. I was expecting worse. But in that middle section, when all that, just before that series of safety cars come out, my feet must have been 105 because they were burning. My big toe on fire. So the pedal box is extremely hot. The rest of me is not too bad with this cool suit.
Great win, Lowndesy. Well done.
Thanks, Brett.
We move over to Tim Slade, who's had an incredible day. Tim, congratulations. Your first pole position and a great race there with Lowndesy in the late stages. That's a top result.
Yeah, it's a great day. Pole position and a second. Sort of kicking myself a little bit for throwing away there towards the end. Just sort of, it's hard to be in front and saving fuel and get all your markers right every lap because you don't have a marker in front. But I'll stop making excuses now. And yeah, that's great. You know, great result for the team. And yeah, I'm pretty stoked.
Tim, enjoy what was an excellent result. Well done.
Thank you.
And James Courtney, boy, JC, it's been a little while since we've seen you on the podium. Welcome back. That was gutsy.
Yeah, it's been a long time between drinks, which has been pretty disappointing, but it's good I finally got a podium this year. It's been a long time in my career since I've waited this long for it, but it's a good one. The guys did a great job. I started to get a bit emotional there at the end when I had to back off and let these guys go, but it was still good to come home in third, and thanks to everyone at Jobwin, Rockstar, Toll, Holden, they've all done fantastic jobs, and you know, we're on the way back, HRT.
You've done a great job yourself. Get up there and enjoy it, JC. Well done.
Cheers, guys.
First podium for James Courtney. Like he said, in a while, it's been a fair old hike back to Sandown. So this extraordinary heat today has really taken its toll, as we thought it would. It's bizarre, though, to see Craig Lowndes. What a difference a win makes. pops out of the car. So, no, it's fine. No problems.
His car looked good too. That always helps. So the thing was working pretty well around here, and that just makes the physical and mental task that much easier.
He's also very fit. I mean, he's very, very race fit. These guys have done a great job today. And you can see Lowndes get out, and it does make a difference when you land at the pointy end. The level of motivation and the physical aspects of today, you cope with those much easier. See Ross Stone and the guys walking in to congratulate Tim Slade. What a great effort for Stone Brothers in one of their last forward performances. What a day.
The good news is we get to come back tomorrow and do it all again.
It's going to be physically hard for a few of the guys too. They'll get a lot of work done tonight. There'll be physio and a lot of massage, a lot of rehydration. Some of them just go onto the drip just to be able to just get it in there quickly and get themselves back to a sensible body temperature.
So the DNFs today, Alex Premer, Jason Bright, Fabian Coulthard, Greg Murphy, Stevie Johnson, who started from third, Shane van Gisbergen, and Lee Holdsworth, who couldn't complete the warm-up lap today. So it was going on before we got underway. Time for the podium.
Ladies and gentlemen, the Sydney Telstra 500 podium time, race 29 of the year. And speaking for us today on behalf of our major sponsor Telstra is JB Rousselot, the Executive Director of Telstra Digital Media and IPTV.
Thank you, Mark. Thank you, Mark. On behalf of Telstra, I just want to thank you all for coming today and for being part of another great edition of the Telstra 500 at Homebush. To the drivers and to the team, congratulations and thank you for a great season and a very hot race today. To those of you at home, we hope you've enjoyed the Channel 7 coverage on your T-Box or on your TV. And for those of you away from home, we hope you've enjoyed watching it live and unmuted on your smartphones and your Telstra tablets. Thank you again for coming today. This is how we connect with the V8s. This is how we connect with the fans. Enjoy the rest of your day. Thank you.
JB, thank you very much. And we now introduce the winning drivers for race 29. In first place for Team Vodafone, Craig Lowndes. In second place for Lucky 7 Racing, Tim Slade. Third place for the Holden Racing team, James Courtney. And representing the winning team, Team Vodafone, is Nick Petrons. Making the presentation to third place is Roger Lindemann, the General Manager, Service Experience, Virgin Australia. Presenting to second place is Sandra Chipchase, Chief Executive Officer, Destination New South Wales. Presenting for the winning team is Gary Mulvey, Executive General Manager, Sucrogen Bioethanol. And back to make the presentation to our winner is JB Rousselot, the Executive Director, Telstra Digital Media and IPTV. Ladies and gentlemen, the 2012 Sydney Telstra 500 Race 29 winners.
So Craig Lowndes now one win away from equaling Mark Skaife at the top of the all-time race wins list. His 89th career victory today. Like we said, the first man to win 2 races on this circuit. So in terms of the championship, Whincup will collect the trophy at the end of the day tomorrow. But Lowndes has now leapfrogged Mark Winterbottom into second. There's only 3 points in it. Could have been a much better day for Will Davison. Started on the front row of the grid. Ends up in position 19. Another 150 points on offer though tomorrow. So this intriguing battle between second and third will continue tomorrow afternoon. So let's take you through the highlights of today, and there will be absolutely plenty. Tim Slade starts from pole position for the first time in his career. A huge dive from Jamie Whincup, who starts mid-pack down at turn 1. Garth Tander got turned around. This is all going on in the opening laps. Shane van Gisbergen, broken steering, and then the most extraordinary sight of the day is car 9 into the medical Porsche. Work that one out. James Moffat and from James Courtney. Courtney, of course, would feature at the very end of the race. Tony D'Alberto had already lost the rear panel of that door on car 3. He also made a few trips through pit lane. Whincup was right up on the heels of car 33 on the entry to pit lane. Courtney and Ingle, great mates, teammates, come together. Crunch, debris goes flying. So when you go through all this, you realise that James Courtney has done quite an extraordinary job to finish up on the podium. Will Davison's tough luck run at this circuit continues. Broken steering. Jason Bright, right in the thick of it. He decided to take on Alex Premer, and that decision would end up with car 8 in the tyre barrier. That was a critical move for the championship. Whincup came in ahead of Craig Lowndes into pit lane for this stop. But Whincup pulled over to let his teammate through to give him the better track position, which would ultimately end up in a race win and ultimately end up getting what they wanted, which is second in the championship heading to the final day. Now the back end stages of this race. Oh, that could have been so ugly. That was. That cost James Moffat any chance of being on the podium. He was there or thereabouts. Tim Slade leading the race. Did it all by himself there at turn 9. He'd get it back some laps later on Courtney, but in doing so would also tag the wall on exit of turn 13. And while all this was going on, while all this fuel economy game was being played out behind them, Lowndes had absolutely no worries to bring it home for another race win.
Well, mate, we've got some tight soldiers here. Davey Reynolds down there recovering. That's a hard gig. Hey, mate, I know you seem a little agitated. Wasn't a good race for you. And did you see Lowndes actually got through in the pit lane when Jamie let him through? Some good teamwork on their behalf to get in front of you.
Yeah, it's good teamwork. But yeah, it didn't fall our way. I got a lot of spots at the start, and after about 5 laps, I think I was up to P9 or 10. So ripper start, but then we stayed out and missed that safety car, and then I tried to push on and just didn't fall to plan really. And then Whincup was blocking me. I tried my best to get rid of him, to be honest. So just couldn't get close enough to him. But yeah, if he does it tomorrow, I'll have to just try and move him. But I tried today and I just couldn't get him.
All right, rest up, mate. You look like you've earned it.
Thanks, mate. It's hard work out there.
Haven't they? Just 74 laps and another 74 coming their way tomorrow and coming your way, of course, tomorrow. Check your local guides. In the west, join us on 7, mate, bright and early in the morning for the final race of the season, the final race of this event, and the final time that we will see Ford go head-to-head with Holden before Nissan and Mercedes join us in 2013. So it's the end of an era tomorrow. Don't miss a beat of it. You'll see it all here on 7 or 7, mate. Craig Lowndes, our race winner today. Tomorrow, we'll crown the championship and we'll say goodbye to V8 Supercars as we know it, as we look forward to a new challenge next year. We'll see you all tomorrow here on 7.